The Northeast Texas Sports Network is dedicated on delivering the most entertaining sports broadcasts in East Texas. And if you're interested in having your next sporting event streamed live, visit us online at NETSN.live.
And good evening, everyone. It's playoff edition, Beast from the East. It's week 12, and the playoffs start this week. Hello, everyone. I'm Brett Swinney. Alongside of me tonight, Jeremy Diamond, Mr. Red Zone OT, KO Kyle Owens. Welcome, fellas. It's playoffs.
We made it. We made it through the whole.
Not all of us made it.
Kyle, you didn't make it there for a second. I thought you were Fly Eagles flying there for a second.
Bro, I don't. Every time the wind blows, my internet goes out. I don't know what the deal is. I mean,
it was like in the air, and then at this moment, he knew he messed up. You know, it looked like one of those. Like,
you just got to bear with me. I don't know if the internet's going to stick with me tonight. We'll just have to see.
We'll see. Yeah, and we might have a special guest pop in tonight as well. We'll see if he's able to make it on. But last week, fellas, week 11. My statement was, what was going on? Like, there was some crazy stuff going on in week 11. Jeremy and I had a crazy experience. We saw a non-offensive first quarter 0-0 turn into a 77-69 went down to the wire shootout in Grapeland Friday night. It was interesting. I came home wounded. I gave everything I had. I fell, gave blood, sweat, and tears to the broadcast. It was an interesting night, nonetheless. Man, the pick'ems were just as interesting, fellas. Man, I thought I had a bad week, but then I went and looked at the leaderboard, and I was like, wait a second, I didn't really lose any ground. I actually actually gained on some folks with a 5-5 record. How'd you guys end up?
Yeah, so 4-6 ain't so nice, but again, I think by the benefit of everyone else doing poorly, I didn't fall too far. I kind of hung in the same general area with everybody, but
I don't know what y'all are talking about. I had a decent week,
guy.
baby. I finished in second place, 6-4.
I know, and that was the thing. Like nobody got more than 7. I mean, when we did our picks last week, there was a bunch of splits and a bunch of like, here I don't know, and I'll say though, I talked to y'all a little bit off air, but like there was a couple of picks that I called them, but I couldn't pull the trigger on them. I was wishy-washy about St. Augustine. I said, St. Augustine, will they play all their players? Timpson comes out and beats them. Kind of had that one. Then the Grapeland one too. I was like, man, Grapeland looks good on paper. Like, look at the way they matched up, and they got the win. So it was a very interesting week. I will say.
Brett, you didn't even mention the fact that like before the Grapeland game started, out of nowhere, like everybody's standing off the field and you hear this thump, 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 and Brett and I look over and there's a helicopter descending onto the field to deliver the game ball, which was pretty crazy. That was a first for me at a high school game to see a helicopter fly in, land, and then give the game ball to a coach.
Yeah, that was definitely interesting. Our person that had the most of the week with 7, a guy that had followed this show a lot. He's a normal listener, Derek Del Rio, with 7 this week. So congratulations to Derek. Kyle was right there with 6. He was in a tie for second there, but I didn't feel too bad when I looked up and I only had 7 people finish with more than me. So I only lost a total ground of a couple of games here. And Kyle, as you popped off for a second, we had 7 people finish ahead of us, or ahead of me at 5-5. And I was like, I just thought when I saw that, I'm like, what is going on? Like, we were so entrailed and our game was so intense. And again, me and Jeremy have the record for every time we go somewhere, it's the longest game of the night. It just seems that we have weeks.
We got most total points on the network. I mean, we had the craziest start to finish. I mean, again, 0-0, and at halftime it was 35-7. So we thought it was going to be a blowout one way, and then Lovelady comes storming back and cuts it all the way to 8. I mean, it was just, and they had a chance at the end. They're about 2 inches away from the game tying touchdown, and just one of those wild.
So most total points of NETSN history, right?
Yeah.
Somebody came on the chat, somebody named Jaron, and thought his game was the most total points. And then Lovelady said, not so fast, and they go down and score. So 77-69. It was just an insane game. And that's just kind of the way the week was. So let's see, y'all. Let's see where else everybody else fell. Okay, we got KO. You were in second there with 6. We gave a shout to Derek Del Rio. He was our pick'em champ of the week, so we give him a shout out. Let's see who else. Anybody else on the first page? Not a single soul. Me and KO, only ones on the first page here from the NETSN group. Let's see. Let's keep going down. Let's see. Brandon. Oh, Brandon did better than he thought. He said 2-8, 1-9. He had 4. He was 4-6. So Brandon did better than he thought he did. Let's see. Conrad there at 4 as well. Jaron up. Jeremy. Oh, Jeremy, you tied with Jaron. Oh, that's your problem right there.
Yeah. It doesn't. I was already 1 behind. I didn't need the time. I needed to get 1 more. And I went back and forth on my Winsboro pick, and I tried to take a flyer there, and in hindsight, I should not have flown. I flew too high, and like Icarus, I fell.
Hey, Kale, you know a guy named Colton Sneed, right?
I do, yes.
2 out of 8, or 2-8, 2 out of 10.
Yikes!
That's
he's gonna need he's a faithful watcher of the show, so you would think that he would have the knowledge from watching us every week. But
he obviously didn't listen to any of our knowledge, because we all did better than that.
I think he was trying to be a contrarian this week, and it did not work out for him. Did not work out.
Yeah. Scott Poole, he had 3. And Ryan Orlando. We had a couple of guys that were at the top that just had some rough weeks. Let's go check out the overall leaderboard here before we move on. at the top, Lewis Ray still in the lead. Doug Montgomery in second at 78. So we got 79, 78, and then at third place in 77 is this guy Brett Swinney guy. I'm just right there in third place. So let's see where'd you go now, Kyle? You're down in 13th. It looks like.
I'm still on the first page though, and if you look, I'm only 3 behind you, which only makes me 6 behind the leader.
And you did pass a certain Jaron Peoples, as he is now.
That was my goal for the week.
Yeah.
I might as well be a champion. That was the goal for the week.
You should set your goals higher, KO. Just saying.
The bar's low. The bar's
Jeremy,
low.
I remember the beginning of the season you were towards the top, and I'm not seeing you on the first page. How far do I have to look?
I'm in 20th. I'm 20th.
Okay, you just didn't make
alphabetical. Whoever did this, they did. It goes alphabetical. So
yeah, that's
Brandon's always going to look like he's ahead. Jaron's going to look like he's ahead. Even if we're tied, because
you should change your name, I guess.
I guess so. And even Hubbard gets ahead of me because he's got an E on the end instead of a Y.
Oh man,
it's a conspiracy.
Oh man, but no, that was a tough week. It was a really tough week. And look to bounce back once we get some here. Sure, let's talk about the games themselves for this week that was so tough. Let's see. We start out with game 1, Joaquin and Garrison got the win in that one. Man, the Rams, they didn't go well for me. Did anybody have Garrison? I think we all had Joaquin. Oh, you had Garrison, KO. Okay, you went against the Rams. Tell us what you thought about this one.
I watched a little bit of this game, and Larry and them down there doing the game, and it was a fun game to watch. Like, it was a physical football game. It was kind of everything we anticipated it being. And I just went with, I know Joaquin had that big run last year, but Garrison has had more overall success these past 3 or 4 seasons, and that's kind of what I leaned on, that experience to get them through, and it did. I mean, it was a close game though, 21-12. It was a barn burner affair down there, but Joaquin went up early in that one, and Garrison had to fight back. So good job by the Garrison Bulldogs of fighting back and locking up that 2 seed headed into the playoffs.
Yeah, I'm not sure it was that big a deal as far as seeding. I mean, I feel like that district's so strong. They're probably going to rematch again. I would just guess in that 3rd round, but who knows? You have to win a couple games first. But shout out to Garrison, went on the road and got the win. Jeremy, are you able to check out any of this game on Thursday? Did you see any of this?
Yeah, I mean, I caught a little bit of it here and there, but yeah, it was one of those. It was hard for me. I mean, I knew both teams would be good. I kind of picked Joaquin with the home field part. That was really the lean for me, was being at home, and but Garrison gets the win, and then I think San Augustine ended up winning the district, and then Ryder did. I mean, they're kind of close, but I think they beat Garrison head to head. So, Garrison ends up in the 2 spot, Joaquin in the 3.
I'll say the game 2 though, I think, was the upset special of the year as far as pick'ems go. No one in the single person, not a single soul, not even the Timpson alumni picked Timpson in this game. 0 picks for Timpson. They said, forget y'all, man. We're going to get a win. We're going to end our season right. Tough way to, they just didn't do enough in the rest of the games there to put themselves in a spot to get in. But shout out to Timpson for going out strong and getting a win for Coach Gandy.
Well, we talked about this last week, that Timpson Shelbyville game is the game that came back to bite them, because had they beat Shelbyville, then they're in the playoffs because of that win over San Augustine. So that 3-point loss, I think it was game 1 of district or early on in district play, that loss ends up costing Timpson a playoff spot. And we talked about this every year, and we talked about it all week or all season long. Every week, and especially in these districts that are so incredibly tight, where there's 5 quality teams battling for 4 spots, there's going to be a good team left out, and every game is so important, and that's what it boiled down to.
Yeah, and we also said at the beginning of the year, is there going to be a team in that district that goes undefeated? We said it several times. We thought maybe St. Augustine might get it. Nope, no undefeated teams in that district. So I think it just shows you've got to come with everything every night. St. Augustine, whether they rested people, I don't know. I didn't really watch a lot of that game. Obviously, I was at a game. But either way, Timpson showed up, got the win, and St. Augustine's like, oh, that's fine. We'll just move on as the first seed in the playoffs. So we're good with that. So Shout out to Coach Barnes and that group. But we got Sunnyvale and Canton, game 3. Sunnyvale gets the win over Canton. And it was close at first. We kind of followed this game a little bit, and then Sunnyvale just asserted their will and pulled away in this one. Now, I think you had the Canton Eagles here, KO. What did you see out of Canton? Are you concerned moving forward in the playoffs after that lopsided loss?
Yes and no. I think that no, because Sunnyvale's a really good team. Sunnyvale's been doing that to teams all season long, and I even mentioned that last week that Sunnyvale went toe to toe with Pleasant Grove. I picked Canton only because they're an East Texas team. Like I think Sunnyvale is the better team. This was, in my opinion, this was Canton's first real test of the season. It's unfortunate it comes at week 11, but it was their first real test of the season. Now the question is, will they be able to bounce back from this loss? Taking your first loss of the year in the final week of the regular season, can you turn that around to amp up for the playoffs and get a big win in the first round? So that's where it's a little concerning, just because they haven't faced this adversity of losing all season long. But I trust Coach Regal, and I trust that he'll have the boys ready to go this week.
Jeremy, surprised by the score at all?
Yeah, and again, not that Sunnyvale was a good team, but I think allowing 56 points was more the shock to me because they'd been so tight on defense all year. Not that they couldn't lose, I just didn't expect them to give up that many points. I thought it was going to be one of those 30 to 24, something more in that range. And so I think concerning is probably too much, but I think if you're a Canton Eagle fan, you're not as relaxed as you probably were before that week, right? Like before that, you were feeling pretty confident. Now you're like, oof, if we're not bringing it on defense, we're going to have to be ready, right? I think that's the only thing. I don't think you're afraid. I think you're just a little bit less relaxed, right? It's kind of that difference in having like an all-pro kicker at the end of a game when you're down 3 versus a guy that's like hit or miss, right? I think it's that difference. Just he could make it, but he also might miss. I think that's kind of where you're looking here. If our defense doesn't play well, we could be in trouble.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So let's move over to game 4, the game we were at, Jeremy. Lovelady and Grapeland, and what was an absolute classic. If you didn't get to watch that game, you can go rewatch that. I think it's on some NETSN channel. I don't know.
Yeah.
Hey, does it cost anything to watch that again?
It's free, and it's
you can
worth
watch
it.
You can watch it 100 times over and over and over if you wanted to. There was big play after a big play after a big play. It was incredible.
And listen, any other week, this would be the upset special. Only 2 people picked Grapeland, right? But because of the San Augustine upset,
that's true.
It loses the fact that it would have been the biggest upset. I mean, it was 72-2 on picks.
And I was this close to being that third one. I was so close. I wanted to pull the trigger. KO was even begging me to pull the trigger on it, and I didn't. I was super impressed with Grapeland. I Lovelady though, man, threw the ball around the yard. Jeremy, was he 60 times in the air that
I think it was at least 60 passes for Lovelady, and I think maybe 12 runs total in the game. And yeah, I mean, it could have been way worse, and it could have been a lot better. I mean, Lovelady missed a lot of opportunities early. They had guys wide open, and they would just throw over or throw just short. And so the Grapeland defensive line did a good job of making the quarterback, making James uncomfortable. And so he threw the ball earlier often than he wanted to. And then again, Grapeland at halftime lost one of their best players, and he had been kind of locking down on defense at the corner spot, and that allowed Lovelady to get some lanes opened up in the throwing area in that second half and kind of allowed him to come back. And then it was like onside kick palooza. I don't know how many there were, but it was every kickoff but like 3 were onside the whole game. It was wild.
Yeah, it was interesting. It reminded me a lot of the Mount Enterprise Overton game, honestly, that we did the week before. Probably similar to the game you saw between Mount Enterprise and Lovelady earlier in the season, Kyle. Just a ton of scoring, ton of big plays.
Well, it was Mount Enterprise and Grapeland that I saw, but yeah,
Okay.
same thing though applied. Like, yes, there was a ton of points putting up there, and I wanted to go with Grapeland. I did. I love Coach Wood. I wanted to go with Grapeland, but I just couldn't pull the trigger. thinking again on Lovelady has been doing it recently, and so until you beat the best, it's hard to pick you. But they did it. Grapeland went out there and did it, and I'm happy for Coach Wood and the Sandies, and I'm excited to see what they can do in the playoffs.
All right, game 5, Carlisle and Kearns, a game that I think Jaron and Jeremy Titsworth had that one over in Kearns, and Carlisle was able to come out with a big win. They locked up the 3rd seed in the playoffs, and Kearns is out, and so KU ended up with 4 with all that tiebreaker scenario. 34-13, big win for Carlisle, an impressive win. I think we talked a little bit about Kearns and the tailback. I don't know if we talked about that on the air, but they lost their running back in the game against Frankston, I believe, and that just really hurt them. And they went kind of, you can see it on their schedule, and obviously their schedule at the preseason wasn't super hard tough, but the difference between the teams don't think was as much until that injury. You lose somebody at that level like that, it's tough to bounce back from that. Big win for Carlisle. What do you think about this, Jeremy?
Yeah, super happy for Carlisle. It was really funny. Dad and I were headed toward the game there in Grapeland, and we ended up side by side with the Carlisle bus at one point. And so we're like, oh, they're headed their way. And so, but no, happy for them. Hats off to Coach Baker. Again, he's done a really good job in year 1 coming back. And, just really they just exemplify that kind of toughness, right? Like, they're not necessarily the flashiest group. They're not going to put up 1,000 points, but they're going to make you earn every yard. And they're going to make, you're going to leave a game playing them knowing that you played a football game. Like, you're not going to walk off without some bumps and bruises. And they do things the right way, and they play hard. And so, just excited for them and excited to see what the playoffs look like for them.
Kyle?
You passed the buses on your way to Grapeland. I passed some Carlisle buses, the band buses, on my way to Malakoff. So we both got to see Carlisle that day. But no, I'm happy for him. I'm happy for Coach Baker. I thought Carlisle may win. I didn't think they would win this dominantly. So I think that's a good sign heading into the playoffs, gaining some momentum as you go into the postseason. So I'm happy for the Indians, and again, excited to see what they can do.
All right, game 6. Winsboro and Malakoff. Kyle, tell us a little about this game. You were there. I'm assuming you didn't wear your Malakoff shirt to the game. I figured you had your Red Zone shirt on.
I'm not stupid. No, I did not. But I should have. Listen, shout out to these Malakoff fans. We have some fans over in Malakoff of the bEast from the East show. They watch us religiously every Tuesday.
You mean they watch an East Texas show, KO?
It's crazy. It's crazy, but they do. So I think that confirms everything when the people there are anyway, whatever. But I talked to a guy named Marcus. Shout out to Marcus. He shook my hand. He walked up to me. Now, granted, I'm on TV. Like, I work at a television station. I'm on a TV channel. And he comes up to me and said, "Hey, man, are you KO from bEast from the East?" I'm like, "Yeah, I am. I am actually." He's like, "Oh, I thought that was you." So we started talking. Now, he told me, he said he's big fans of our shows, but we hadn't been talking about Malakoff a lot lately, so he kind of hadn't been watching. And I said, listen, I said, I don't blame you, because if they weren't talking about my school, I don't know if I'd want to watch either. So I understand. So I told him, I said, "So did you watch this past week's episode?" He's like, "No, I hadn't seen it." I said, "I was wearing a Malakoff shirt and a hat and everything, and I picked Malakoff." He goes, "Oh, I'm gonna have to go back and watch it." And so, and then after the game, I was walking off the field after the interview, and a guy stopped me. He's like, "Man, I appreciate y'all being out here." I figured he was talking about KLTV and Red Zone. So, "I appreciate y'all being out here." I said, "Yeah, man." He goes, "Oh, I enjoy watching y'all show every Tuesday night." I said, "Of course, it's another bEast from the East."
There you go.
Anyway, shout out to Malakoff. We got big fans over there, and the hospitality was great. The game was good too. It was a real cagey affair, as you like to say. Malakoff scored early on, took a 7-0 lead. Then Winsboro had a couple of punts. Then Malakoff fumbled the football. A big hit caused a turnover. We had three field goal attempts in the first half, 2 missed field goals. Winsboro finally did score Noli Carroll in the second quarter to tie it up at 7. And then it was a great 2-minute drive executed by Malakoff, sophomore quarterback Canyon Marsh. We lost Mike Jones. Who? Mike Jones from Malakoff. Yeah. But you got Canyon Marsh coming in there, a sophomore that really does a good job on the offensive side of the ball. He makes some young mistakes that a younger quarterback would make, but he's a heck of an athlete, and he led a good 2-minute drive to go down there. Malakoff kicked a field goal, 10-7 at halftime. It was 10-7 at the end of the third quarter. Why? Because Malakoff went on a 20-play, 90-yard drive that ate up 11 minutes and 53 seconds off the clock. They got the ball with about 7.5 minutes to go in the third quarter, held it till about 4 minutes left in the ball game. So, and then they went down and scored. And all 20 of those plays, rushes, just pounding the rock. So that made it 17-7. And then Jarian Hall ripped off an 83-yard rushing touchdown late in that ball game to make it 24-7. So the game was really a lot closer than the score indicates. Winsboro went in there, played their tails off, but Camden Capehart, the D1 receiver for Winsboro that we talk about a lot, I don't think he had any catches. The only touch I remember him having is on a reverse where he probably got 13, 15 yards maybe, and that was it. That was the only Camden Capehart sighting we had all night. So Malakoff did a really good job.
For Winsboro only to have 7 KO, that's defense. And what do we talk about? Travels, KO, defense
travels. And Winsboro's been averaging 50+ points a game, and Malakoff held them to 7 and really shut them down. I mean, they didn't have many yards. They ate up quite a bit yards at the end of the game, but it was just chunk plays of not doing anything. But Malakoff's defense played phenomenal. Jarian Hall had over 300 yards of offense. It was just a really good game. It was one of those games where, for me anyway, it was, okay, Malakoff is still Malakoff. Like, this is not – we didn't talk about him a lot this year because it didn't look the same. Yeah. They're still a really good football team over in Malakoff, and they should not be slept on.
Yeah, it's a good time to be peaking right now, KO. It's playoff time. And I think you mentioned last week that you had talked to him about it was going to be rough early, and we saw it. We just didn't. I mean, even rough for me, I didn't think it was going to be that rough. But they've been able to bounce back, and 7-3, still a solid regular season. And I think that region, I think it's open. I don't think there's anybody that's just saying, "Hey, we're the favorite." And the one team that we thought maybe they took an L this week.
Yeah, I was about to say Commerce took an L to Mount Vernon. So I mean, even they don't look invincible anymore. So yeah, I think Region 2 is wide open.
Jeremy, what do you think?
Don't be surprised if the Tigers come out of it. Don't be surprised if Malakoff ends up being that team out of it, because they're starting to hit their stride.
Jeremy, you had Winsboro, I believe, in this one.
I did. Yeah. And I think the thing that we were worried about early in the year was Winsboro's defense, right? And so, it was interesting. They only gave up, like you said, 24, and one of those was on the long run late in the game, right, where you're probably trying to take a chance or two to try to get something back. And so, I mean, I think if I'm a Winsboro fan, I'm happy with our defense. Obviously, you want your offense to put up more than 7 points, but this is it's a big win there for Malakoff. And like you said, Commerce going down in the next game. I think I started like 1-7 this week in picks, and so it was a pretty rough start there. And so so thankfully Carlisle pulled a win out, or I might have been in big trouble. But it was just an interesting week. And you wonder too, with the Commerce thing, like, did they rest anybody, or did they relax a little bit, or did Mount Vernon just come out and play a really good game? We didn't get to watch that one, and so I don't know. But yeah, I think this district is a little bit more open than we thought it might have been in this region. And
the 32-27. I mean, it was a close game. It wasn't Mount Vernon didn't just come out and blow it off. So I mean, it's one of those things. Commerce had wrapped up the number 1 seed. You don't want to get anybody hurt. Do you want to use any plays that you don't really have to for an opponent that could be scouting? I mean, I think that probably had an effect on a couple of the games. I think so. We think the St. Augustine game as well, because those are 2 games that I felt pretty comfortable with. I thought, St. Augustine and Commerce, and those were 2 L's. And, I think the picks show it. We had a grand total of 1 person pick Mount Vernon to win. So, and it was probably, you know what? It was probably
Derek.
He's a Mount Vernon guy.
I was about to say,
that's probably the difference.
A Mount Vernon guy.
Yeah. So it was probably him. He was probably the lone pick for Mount Vernon this week. Maybe he knew something. He had some inside information.
He had to know something. He had some insider trading that he didn't want to share with anybody else. So he kept that one for himself, and he gained a game on everybody. So congratulations to him.
He sure did. Next game on the pick'em in that upper Northeast Texas area, Hooks and DeKalb in a game that was a seeding game for the second seed, and Hooks got the win in that game. 49-22 wasn't even close. I thought this game would be a lot closer than this, Kyle. At home, DeKalb just didn't compete with Hooks there. What any thoughts on, like, I thought it would be even picking Hooks, I thought it would be like maybe a 1 or 2 score game at most.
Yeah, I mean, I guess the score kind of surprises me. I just hadn't been sold on DeKalb all year, and I think Hooks is really good. They hung toe to toe with Winsboro, who we just talked about, and that Hooks team hung with them. So I just hadn't been sold on DeKalb all year, honestly. So I think Hooks winning doesn't surprise me. Maybe winning by the amount that they won by, but overall, I think the better team came out on top. And but DeKalb's in the playoffs too, so it's not like their season's over. They'll get a chance this week against a salty, no pun intended, Grand Saline team.
Jeremy?
Yeah, I mean, I'd picked Hooks as well. I mean, I thought they were going to win it. I don't know if I thought they were going to win it this convincingly. I think that's the surprise there. But again, you know, you want to set yourself in a good spot. But if you're both teams are in the playoffs, and now it's just wide open again, right? It's 0-0, reset everything, and all you got to do is you just win, baby, right? As they say, you just win, baby. And so both teams can make some noise if they play well. And so I think Hooks is feeling a little bit better about where they're at right now, probably than DeKalb, but both teams are in it. So you gotta fight for the end here.
So game 9, Jefferson made a statement there. They said, we're in the playoffs and we're here to do some damage. They get a win over Tatum 49-14 in an impressive fashion. I'm not super surprised by it. I've been slightly concerned about Jefferson overall in the district, but I thought that they were by far going to be a little bit better team than Tatum. I mean, shout out to Tatum and the win last week over White Oak to give them a chance to be in this position. But, you know, they've kind of struggled with their identity this year. Like, you know, they've had to change the offense. They lost so many pieces off a team that had been very successful over the last 2 or 3 years. And so, Jefferson took care of business. Now they're in the dance, and they're a team as a 4 seed I do not want to see. Kyle, you agree with me on that?
Yeah, absolutely. I think them, and I didn't realize until I was looking at the brackets, but down in Division 2A, Division 2, Mart is a 4 seed.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah,
so Jefferson and Mart are 2 of those 4 seeds that you don't. And Chapel Hill, you can add Chapel Hill into that. There's some extremely strong 4 seeds going into these playoffs, and Jefferson's not going to be any slouch. You know, Coach Taylor, they've gone through some struggles, but again, a couple of their losses are 1 possession losses, like to Gladewater, to Atlanta. It's not like they've been blown out in these games. So I think this Jefferson team is dangerous, and what I think is even more dangerous when you go in and you're in a must-win game and you dominate like that, just from start to finish. How much confidence does that give you going back into the playoffs now? So, I look out for this Jefferson team.
But they have to play Commerce. And do
we know what Commerce is?
That's true.
That's a juicy match.
You know?
Right. But, aside from last week, if you saw that coming up, you're like, ugh, and so who knows? I mean, maybe Commerce rested some guys, but it's not going to be – I mean, again – you never know. You got to get in there to win it, and so Jefferson's got a shot. But this is a fun district to kind of match up here when you're looking at, Jefferson matching up with Commerce, and there's a lot of teams in this district that's going to be a fun kind of head to head with Malakoff and those guys, and so I'm excited to see how that all shakes out.
Yeah. So here's the deal. This next game, game 10, Arp and West Rusk. it was a pretty good battle for a while. Art pulled away. West Rusk kind of closed. Art does get the win. They get the number 2 seed over West Rusk. I took West Rusk in this game. I thought defensively, I've seen them. I kind of had a little more, obviously seen them in person. But the ARP Tigers, man, they took care of business. Coach Minky's got them in the playoffs again. I think that's 3 or 4 years in a row that they've made the playoffs, and we'll see what they do round 1. But an impressive win at home. I think these two teams, they're close teams. I think this game's in West Rusk. I think it may be a different story. I think it was the home field probably helped a lot in this one. But shout out to both teams. They've got some tests coming up though, and that region is absolutely loaded in that region. Kyle, you smiled there, but it's gonna be tough from the get go, especially for West Rusk.
Yeah, no, it's going to be tough, and even if they get past round 1, round 2 obviously is even tougher. So I mean, it's going to be tough. But Art, I'm impressed with Art, man. Their one loss is to Troop. Now, granted, they got throttled in that Troop game, but their one loss is to a very good undefeated Troop team. This Art team's dangerous. They play solid defense. They can score when they need to. They have an offense that does enough. I don't want to say it's an explosive offense. They can put up a lot of points, but they do enough to win football games. And when you have a defense that plays like they do, they don't have to do too much. But impressed with Art this season and the way Coach Spinky's got them playing, and impressed with West Rusk. They went toe-to-toe with Malakoff earlier in the year, and now that game looks even better when you look back at it because of how Malakoff's playing now. So I think West Rusk is dangerous as well in the playoffs. They have a tough first-round matchup too, but I think they're also a dangerous football team. And, yeah, this region, I know we'll get to it, but this region is the possibilities of games that we have in this region are phenomenal.
It makes me, as a broadcaster, KO, it makes me smile. And like at that little at Christmas, the Grinch grin. Yeah. But that's the Pick'em games. Other games that we had that were of interest. Looking around.
I got one.
Okay, go for it, KO.
Cujo, baby,
Okay.
the Tyler High Lions. Listen, the scenario they had going into Friday night was almost improbable. I don't know if you have the little ESPN stat analytics, what it would be, but the FPI or the FBI or the whatever. FBI. I don't. Hey, whatever. It probably wouldn't have given Tyler High a very good chance of getting in the playoffs. They needed either a Joshua win over. First off, they had to beat Red Oak. That was first and foremost. They had to beat Red Oak. Then they needed a Joshua win over Burleson Centennial, and then they're in. Well, Joshua didn't win. Centennial wins 7-3. Real cagey affair there between Joshua and Centennial. So then the new goal was Tyler High had to win by 12 points. And what do they win by? Exactly 12 points to get into the playoffs. Clutch by the Lions. Happy for Coach Woods to finally get into the postseason as a Tyler High Lion. And listen, this team has been so up. This offense can score with anybody. We know that. This offense can. They went toe-to-toe with Highland Park. We know this offense can put up a ton of points. The question is going to be, can the defense make enough stops to give their offense an opportunity to score those points? So I'm excited to see what they can do. I don't think Tyler High is a team to make a very deep run, but who's to say they can't pick up a playoff win?
Game.
Exactly. So I'm happy for Coach Woods, man. That was awesome. I thought, I know we talked last week. I know Jeremy said, well, there's a chance they can get in. I thought they were done. I thought there was no chance they got in, but Jeremy knew. Jeremy knew.
I'm excited. One of the young men on the offensive line is a kid that I've known for a long time. I actually coached his big brother, taught his older sister, and then we've been part of their family kind of in a mentoring role for a few years now. And so just excited for them. His mom texted me literally after it was over, like, we did it. We barely did it, but we did it, And so just super excited for that team. And again, for Coach Woods. And, he came from a successful program at PC North there in Oklahoma. And I know he can coach ball. And I think a lot of people know that too, but I think this is, what he needed to kind of give himself, I think the team needed it, right? The school needed it, and so I think it's awesome for them to get a chance to move forward. And again, who knows what can happen, right? Give them a game and see what happens, and if their defense can make some key stops, they've got a good chance.
Yeah, I mean, shout out to them, man. That's awesome. I think that crazy scenario was only topped by the one scenario. I know you guys probably saw the coin flip at the gas station in West Texas.
Real life Friday Night Lights.
Yeah. I mean, and I think honestly it worked out. They had the paperwork issue, I think, with the student in Amarillo High. They had to forfeit like 6 games. They win
and
the
they
coin
still
toss.
could be in the coin flip. How do you lose 6 of your games and only have the one district win and still get to be in a coin flip? That's the craziest thing to me.
Yeah. And they win it. I mean, I feel, the coach was emotional. I don't know if you guys saw the whole thing, like in the interview, the coach afterwards, and he just basically was like, this was God's plan. We just let him that's awesome for them, for those kids. Cause you hate it for something like that to keep other kids out of the postseason. And now they at least get to experience it. I don't know what the matchups like over there in that region. If they'll be a tough, I know they'll be I think they're the last seed, but that'll be a tough opponent because you've got a team that really won a lot more games that is now a lower seed. So a tough matchup for somebody. I feel like they have to drive to El Paso now, though. I think that's, they got that district where they do in that classification, they do the home and homes for the tops. And I think they have to drive to El Paso. I think I'm correct. And that would be a tough travel. I think it's probably 7-8 hours. I mean, it's a long way. And so
6-7.
Yeah. Well, yeah, there you go. Maybe. Sure. I'm not in all that cool stuff, Kale. I'm not in on
this
that.
Guy. Tell me your birth age doesn't start with a 4 without telling me.
Oh man. Okay. So, but that's an incredible story there, not in our area, but just something that was a cool deal. Going through these games here on Friday, I'm just scrolling down through here. Let's see. Grace got a win. I think they might have made the postseason. The Grace Cougars. So shout out to Grace. They got a win over Bishop Dunn.
Sulphur Springs got a big win over Frisco Panther Creek.
Yeah, that was a huge win statewide. I think I watched a podcast on the way to my game Friday, and I watched them, and they picked Panther Creek. Sulphur Springs lost their quarterback a few weeks ago and have been playing the backup and still able to get a big win. And I mean, that district's so tough, though. I mean, they may win all 4. That may be another one of those, district sweeps, because Paris is the 4th seed and they're a really good football team. I think they beat White House pretty handily. 5A White House. I mean, White House hasn't been great, but they still a 5A Division II team. They beat them pretty bad. So that's interesting. How about Center just squeaking by Rusk 27-20? That's interesting.
That one shocked me. When I saw that score, I was like, what is going on in this game? So that one surprised me, and that makes me a little concerned for Center this Friday night when they got to take on Van, because Van's going to be coming in angry, and Center's coming in granted, you got to win and got in, but that's not the way you want to go into the playoffs.
No, not really. What about Legion Field squeaking by Harleton too?
Yeah.
I mean,
well, and Wascom was struggling with Hawkins at one point. So I mean, there were some teams that I think maybe sleptwalk into the final week of the regular season, and they had to wake up.
You got to be careful doing that.
Well, and speaking of scores, I forgot to say something earlier, but when we were watching the score of the Tyler High one, and at some point, somehow, I think the Red Zone app accidentally had Red Oak was 60 points. I think they only had 30, but somehow it got bumped up to 60 somehow. And so we were like, oh my gosh, Tyler High's getting blown out. And then I pulled it up 5 minutes later. I was like, they lost 30 points in one play. We're like, oh man. So
that's what we like to do over at the Red Zone. We like to scare people and then
Yeah,
change the story. It's like the Mandela effect or the Men in Black with the little pin. Look,
that's
you
right.
didn't see anything.
Did I just see that? Yeah, it probably caused the viewership of the stream to triple. Right? They're like, "What? How are we
Wait,
down 30? What just happened?"
man. Let's see. Going through here. Yeah, that Burleson Centennial Joshua score, you said 7-3. It's like a baseball score. That's crazy how that did. Let's see. I don't know if there's anything else that I saw that was really, noteworthy here. Of course, Van went up to Pleasant Grove, or Van hosted Pleasant Grove and took a beating there, 56-14, and a Pleasant Grove, man. That Carthage Pleasant Grove matchup, round 3 is going to be. If we get that, that's going to be something.
Did you see the West Sabine pass score? It was a
Oh, yeah.
safety to nothing.
Well,
I think it might have been
Sabine Pass forfeited all their district games.
Oh, okay. I was like, I
So
was so
they're
confused. I was like,
0-6. Yeah, they just gave 2 O's to everybody.
Something weird happened there. I'm like, that's pretty incredible. I was like, hold on. I saw that. I was like, hang on a minute.
I think All Saints is going to be hosting their first playoff game in school history. They lost to Dallas Christian, which, Dallas Christian state powerhouse. We know that. But shout out to All Saints for getting to host a playoff game. That's a cool deal for them. What's the tailback they've got, KO? The you know his name?
Hadnot. I know his last name's Hadnot. I can't remember his first name.
He's impressive. I've seen some stats on him. He's got
Emerson Hadnot.
I know we don't talk about All Saints a whole lot, but they've had a really good season over there. Kind of quiet under the radar.
I remember talking to him at the Christus Fall Sports Media Day before the season, and just talking to him that there was a quiet confidence that they had. Like, you could just tell that they felt good about things going into the season. It wasn't a cockiness or an arrogance or anything, but it was just kind of a quiet confidence of, we have a team that can make some noise this year, and they're doing it. And hosting a playoff game is huge. I mean,
they're dropping too, KO. They're dropping down a division, so they'll be down in the next alignment whenever they reline in the fall. Them and Gorman both are dropping down, so they'll playing with some smaller schools. So that may even help them even more. Continue to build that program. All right, let's go look at our polls, our how our regular season polls are going to end here tonight. And then we'll go look at some playoff stuff here. So let's if I can find my polls area here. Let me see here. Not a ton of change, I don't think. Probably going to be I think more shakeup in the lower levels than the top level here. All right.
So while you're pulling that up, I don't know if you saw, but the kid from Ozona, I think they said he passed 3,500 yards in his last regular season game. So I think he's got to get to 40, 45. So he's got to about 540 yards to get that record. 541, I think, will give him the record.
That's incredible. And for someone who's seen Kagan Ash, like, just imagining that's crazy. All right, y'all ready?
Hey, I saw a cool little stat today that Derrick Henry, in Sunday's game, he surpassed his high school rushing total in the NFL. So in high school, he had like 12,100 yards or whatever. He finally, in his 9th season in the NFL, surpassed his high school numbers that he did in 4 years. So that's amazing to think about. That's 24,000 yards on his body. And that's not even including his time in Alabama, where he was rushing all over the place there too. So anyway, that was neat.
That's impressive. It's impressive. All right. Here we go. Final poll for the regular season. We will have a poll at the end of the season after everyone's finished. But this will be our final poll until then. We're starting at the bottom at 15. It's Van, 14 Pittsburgh, 13 Pine Tree, 12 Canton, 11 Chapel Hill. I had I had Canton at 15, Pittsburgh 14, Van at 13, Chapel Hill at 12, and Pine Tree at 11. Where I had KO, what'd you have there?
I had so I did it. I pulled the trigger this week. I brought Mount Pleasant into my poll. I put them in at 15. I know they're 4-6. I get it. I do. But I brought Mount Pleasant into my poll. And then I got Pittsburgh at 14. I dropped Canton from 10 to 13. I only dropped them 3 spots, even though Sunnyvale's not in our poll because they're not East Texas. We know they're a really good team. So that moved Chapel Hill, even on a bye week, up to 12 for me. And then I got Pine Tree moving up 1 spot to 11.
Okay. Jeremy?
I've got, let me see. Sorry, I had it pulled up and it went away. There it goes. I have Pine Tree at 15. I have Pittsburgh at 14, Mount Pleasant at 13, Chapel Hill 12, and I have Lufkin at 11.
Okay. Jeremy, you have a trick of talking without your mouth moving. I don't know what
I think
that is a skill. That is quite a
I think
skill.
I think I'm pulling the KO. I may have to bump out and bump back in.
no facial expression, no movement, just straight delivering hot fire. I love it.
That's what I do.
I mean, it's the serious look too, boys. It's
This is all, I had to switch to my hotspot on my phone. I don't know what's going on with the internet tonight.
I might have to do the same thing. All right. Well, I'll bump out and try to get unserious when I come back.
Okay. Bring your smile.
That's right.
All right. So we'll have him back in just a minute here. All right. So I think we're pretty consistent. I still had I think, did you have Pittsburgh in yours, KO? Or did you drop them out?
I got them at 14. I didn't drop them out.
I wonder who you had, because I'm trying to figure out.
I dropped out somebody. I can't remember who I dropped out.
Yeah, I'm trying to think who you have out because it
hold on, I can tell you. I can go back to Oh no, I can't. Wait, yeah, I can go back to week 10 and see. Would it still yes.
So of the teams I had, I didn't really you can count. You have Mount Pleasant there. I just didn't think any of the teams that I had were low enough where I could bump them completely out and bring a team that was 4-16. Yes, I know they're probably better than that record wise because of the schedule.
Oh, I dropped Van out.
Oh, okay. I knew you had to bump somebody out, which they lost pretty bad at PG, but so
I bumped Knack out.
Okay.
So I bumped Knack out with loss and brought in Pine Tree because I didn't have them ranked.
I didn't want to, but that's the same situation that you were just talking about that I got into. Like I wanted to bring Mount Pleasant in. Like that was I'm bringing Mount Pleasant in. So somebody's got to go. And Van was sitting at 15, and then they lost. So I was like, well,
yeah.
Do I think they're one of the top 15 teams? Yes, but just the way things kind of fell, and when they lost, they're just not in there.
I actually did not. I didn't move Van. I dropped Canton below them when they lost, but I didn't punish Van for that loss to Pleasant Grove. I mean, everyone would lose Pleasant Grove probably in this poll, except maybe a couple. So I didn't punish them a whole lot. I just didn't think. I was like, whoever was below them, I know, it's Pittsburgh and Canton. They're all those teams down there were pretty close, so I just didn't bump them. I don't think that's a bad thing that you move Mount Pleasant in. I think they've shown when they got to play some teams like in their district, they were competing in every game, and they dominated the teams that were lesser than them. So I think that's a team that I don't want to see in the playoffs. I think they're a scary team because of their record. You could say, oh, this is going to be an easy game. We can just beat this and then overlook them. I think.
Yeah, I mean, I brought Mount Pleasant in last week and had every intention of putting them at 15, and then Pittsburgh and Knack both lost, so that bumped them to 13 last week when they came into the poll, and then and they kind of sat in that same spot, and then Pittsburgh won, so I left them at 14, and then Knack lost again, and so that let me bring in Pine Tree, which I should have had, and Van could be in there too. I think that was that's tough, but with them losing, it was easier to put Pine Tree in and Van. So
okay. All right, so we got top 10. At 10, we've got Lufkin. 9, we've got Marshall. 8, Longview. 7, Athens. and 6 Sulphur Springs. I had Lufkin at 10, Longview at 9, Marshall at 8, Athens at 7, Sulphur Springs at 6. So I had all 5 of those. I have let's see, Longview and Marshall flipped. All right, Jeremy, who you got there?
I've got a Longview at 10. I've got Canton at 9, Marshall at 8, Sulphur at 7, and Athens at 6. I had Canton as my number 6 team, and so I dropped them 3 spots. Again, they lost, but they lost to a really, really good Sunnyvale team, so I didn't want to, bury them, but I did drop them 3.
Okay. Kale?
Yeah, I almost had the perfect 5 right here, but I have Athens and Longview swapped. So I have Longview at 8 and Athens at 7.
Okay. All right. Top 5. We've got Lindale at 5, Texas High at 4, Pleasant Grove at 3, Kilgore at 2, and Carthage at 1. And I kept the same 5, and that is the 5 in that order. So I hit the bullseye on that one. Anybody else bullseye that?
Well, Jeremy did. I have Texas High and Lindale flipped.
Okay. So you've got Lindale at 4 and T High at 5 then. Okay. That's our polls for that one. I think the next set though is going to be interesting because there was some shakeup in this 3A poll. I know for one, there was a team that I definitely had to get in this week to my poll, and I raced to get them in. I was like, I got to get this team in. They deserve it now. I've seen it. I've seen it with my eyes. It's the advantage of getting to see some of these teams. And Jeremy probably agrees with me. Getting to see them and getting to eyeball them, it makes you have a different perspective here.
Well, and we were there for senior night, and I think 12 or 13 of the 25 players on the team are seniors, and so they're very senior laden. And I think the experience showed in a big game like that against Lovejoy. So,
all right. So here's our poll here. We're going to start from the bottom. We have Grapeland at 15. We got Malakoff at 14. Lovelady at 13. And we have a tie at 11th for Grand Saline and Elysian Fields at 11. I had Atlanta 15, Westwood 14, Elysian Fields 13, Grand Saline 12, and West Rusk at 11. I dropped West Rusk down 4 spots after they lost to ARP. That was my top there. Jeremy, what'd you have in your bottom 5?
Yeah, so my last 2 in the poll last week were San Augustine and West Rusk, and I was kind of in that same place where you were after watching Grapeland. I needed to get them in the poll. I also felt like I needed to get Dangerfield in the poll, and so I bumped out West Rusk and San Augustine, which is weird because I think they're both going to be fine in the end of things, but I needed some movement to get those 2 teams in after watching them live. And so my 15 is Grapeland, my 14 is Dangerfield, 13 Atlanta, 12 Grand Saline, and 11 Elysian Fields.
KO, the question of the hour is, did the Dangerfield Tigers make your top 15?
They did. I finally remembered to put them in, and because of that, I had to drop a team out. And San Augustine, unfortunately, got the straw for me, losing to an unranked Timpson team. Whether you rested players or not, you shouldn't have lost that game. So I think they dropped out because of that. And then recency bias, I think, got the best of me in this one. But I moved Malakoff back in to my poll, which means I had to drop out the Westwood Panthers. My preseason number 1 is out of my top.
The team that you picked to go to the state championship to play against Jefferson. How are you feeling about that prediction, KO?
Not great. Not great. So I had to drop Westwood out because I brought Dangerfield in, obviously, which I should have had in earlier in the year. And then I brought Malakoff in. So my 15 through 11 is Malakoff at 15. I got Jefferson at 14. I dropped Lovelady 7 spots from 6th to 13th. I've dropped Grand Saline one spot, 11th to 12th. Hold on. I know. Because I moved Grapeland up one spot, 12th to 11th for beating Lovelady. So I had to do some finagling there to show love and appreciation to Grapeland beating Lovelady. And I had to put, in my mind, Grapeland above Lovelady because they beat them head up. So I had to figure
that
out.
That was going to be my question for the big drop. I was going to say that's a big drop for only losing by 8. But okay, because I was like, okay, hold on. You just dropped somebody that lost by 8, like 7 points. Okay.
Right. Well, that was my I had Grapeland so low that I wanted to jump them, and so I had to drop them.
Okay, fair enough. All right, let's go 10 through 6. Number 10 is Westwood, 9 Wascom, 8 Dangerfield, 7 Winsboro, and 6 Edgewood. So I had at 10 I had Lovelady. 9 I brought into my poll, which I did not have ranked, is the Grapeland Sandies. I moved them into the poll and put them at 9. That was an impressive win. I kind of gave them their resume last week to everybody when I was looking at my picks. I mean, a team that's had a 12-point loss to Bremont, I believe, earlier in the season. A highly ranked Bremont team that is a really good football team, and they hung with Mount Enterprise just like Lovelady did. So I think they're pretty even, but I put Grapeland right above them because they got the win over Lovelady. Winsboro 8 for me, 7 Edgewood, and 6 is Dangerfield. All right, what do you got there, KO?
All right, so I got at number 10 for me, I have Winsboro. I dropped them 6 spots, 4 to 10. I have Elysian Fields. They moved up 1, 10 to 9. I moved Edgewood up 1, 9 to 8. Moved Wascom up 1, 8 to 7. And then newly entering my poll, the Dangerfield Tigers at number 6 is where they begin. I should have, like I said, I should have had them in there longer. So this is more of a, I screwed up. Let me move them to where they should be and not just do the obligatory, let me move them in at 15 and work their way up. No, they should be up higher. So I dropped them in at 6.
Okay. That's where I have them too. Jeremy, what about you? What do you have in your 10 through 6?
I've got Edgewood at 10, Wascom at 9. I have Lovelady at 8. They were number 5 for me. Then I have Westwood at 7, and then Winsboro at 6.
Okay. Top 5. Here we go. At 5, we've got ARP, 4 Gladewater, 3 Mount Enterprise, 2 Frankston, and number 1 is the Troop Tigers. Number 1 in our poll here to end the season. I had Gladewater at 5, ARP at 4, Mount Enterprise 3, Frankston 2, Troop 1. So I had them flipped. KO, what you celebrating? You got it completely?
I finally got a bullseye. Finally got a perfect top 5.
You got
ARP, Gladewater, Mount Enterprise, Frankston, Troop.
All right, there you go. What about you, Jeremy?
I have Gladewater and ARP flipped. I have ARP at 5, Gladewater 4, and then the top 3 the same. So I just have 4 and 5 flipped. So which is what I had last week. So I didn't feel like the need to make a change.
ARP is at 5, Gladewater's at 4.
Or wait, excuse me, I have it the other way. Sorry, Gladewater 5, ARP 4.
Okay.
Sorry, I was looking at what I wrote for you.
So you have what I have. I have that.
Yeah, I have what you have, and that's what I had last week, and so I didn't feel like changing it just because. I mean, both teams, everybody won in the top 5, so I didn't feel the need to, kick anybody around and change that up. And again, we'll see what happens when the season shakes out. But
okay. Well, Kyle got him a bullseye. Now he can be happy. Now he's successfully got him
That's right.
Just took him all year. It's okay. You just
listen,
last, right?
It matters at the end. Okay, it doesn't matter how you start. It matters how you finish, and I'm finishing strong.
I know why. It's because you got that nice pen in your hand, KO.
It is. Yes. Could someone get a pin like this, Brett, if they wanted one?
Yeah. If they come find us at a game, I'd love to pass them out to someone. Come find me. Come find where I am.
Marcus and Malakoff, come get you a pin.
Yeah, there you go. Okay, so we've got pick'ems and we've got playoff brackets. we hadn't planned how to do this. So what do you guys think? Should we go over the actual game pick'ems first, or should we go over the brackets and then pick games? What do you think? What do you think, Kyle?
I think we should do pick'ems then brackets.
Okay, so we'll go over the pick'em games, and then we'll because we won't hit all the games. Obviously, there's too many teams in, so we'll go look at the brackets and breakdowns after we do the pick'ems. All right, I like it. All right, the pick'ems are there. You guys can see them, I assume. Able to look at the pick'em games now. They have been released officially. There we go. All right, we ready to go? All right, game one. Grand Saline and DeKalb in a game that, man, you saw DeKalb last week. I'm going to go with Grand Saline, man. I just think Grand Saline has got what it takes right now. DeKalb's coming off a loss to Hooks, and I think that I think Hooks is a really good football team, but I think Grand Saline is also a really good football team. So give me the Grand Saline Indians in this one. Jeremy, who you got?
Yeah, I mean, Grand Saline's 2 losses are to Palmer and Edgewood. Edgewood's in our poll. Palmer we know is a good team. I'm going Grand Saline as well. I think this is a pretty, at least for me, it feels pretty easy to make this pick, which makes me a little bit nervous that I feel so confident in it, considering I went 4-6 last week. But I feel confident that the Grand Saline Indians are going to come away with a W here.
Okay.
Well, I'm not going to be the different one here. If our picks were nope. If our picks were up on the screen, this would be a clean sweep for the Indians of Grand Saline. I love what Coach Drennan's doing. I think they got too much power on offense with Jet Taylor and Colton Prox and all the weapons that they got there. So I'm going to take Grand Saline. His name's not Colton Prox, but it is a Prox. But I messed up his name. I already know that. So anyway, actually, it may be Colton. Anyway, the Prox receiver. You know who I'm talking about.
He knows. He knows. All right, game 2. Malakoff, Liberty Ilo. Man, it's hard to, after a big win over a really good Winsboro team, an impressive performance. It's hard to pick against Malakoff right now. It's tough, but Liberty Ilo, man, they're a good team too. But sorry, I'm swerving you. I'm going with Malakoff. I'm taking the cough. Marcus, this pick's for you. We're talking about your Malakoff Tigers, and we'll probably be talking about them for 7 more rounds at least. We'll see how far they can go. They got the win this week. KO, you sticking with a cough?
Defend what is ours. Act like I got that shirt on again. Yeah, I'm taking Malakoff. This is a rematch of last year's, I think, regional final. Malakoff and Liberty Ilo last year in the regional final. Maybe, I can't remember. But this was a matchup from last year, a rematch. So it should be a good game, but I think Malakoff's playing really good ball right now, so I'm taking the Tigers.
Jeremy, we going with a sweep?
Listen, Malakoff is in East Texas, and I have not put them in my poll, and I am ashamed to say that. It has been a long time. Now, listen, they were number 1 on my poll to start the year, and then they kind of tumbled out for me. And I've overlooked them too long, and I am not going to do that anymore. I'm going the Malakoff Tigers to get the dub and send Liberty Ilo home.
Man, we have not been kind to that Northeast Texas corridor so far. They are probably throwing darts at us. Okay. Game 3. We've got West Sabine and Overton. Jeremy, I'm going to go to you with this one first. Overton, the 4 seed, West Sabine, the 1 seed. Does it matter? Who you got?
Yeah. I mean, so West Sabine got throttled by Timpson to start the year, right? Then they lost to San Augustine, but they've rolled off W's through there, right? But I'm looking at it, and I'm not seeing a big win. I don't see a big signature win. They are 8-2, but they beat Tenaha. They beat Hemphill, right? They smoked Colmesneal and Hull, Diaceta, right? They beat Saratoga West Hardin. I'm not seeing that signature win that I would need to feel confident. I've watched Overton. Their quarterback will run you over and he will throw the ball by you, and he will keep coming and coming. I'm taking the Overton Mustangs in this one.
Okay. KO?
I like what West Sabine's doing. This is a KTRE school, deep East Texas. I like what they're doing, but I'm kind of with you, Jeremy. Like, you look at their schedule, and there's nothing that really pops out as impressive. And that's not a slight on West Sabine.
No.
You play
No.
who's put in front of you, and they're doing what they should do to these teams. But Overton, when you look at Overton, they don't really have any standout wins either. If you look at it, all the big games that they've been in, the Carlisle, the Lovelady, Grapeland, Mount Enterprise. Granted, I know those are good football teams; they're playoff teams, but Overton hasn't won those games. So that's my only concern: is that will they be able to get a win in a big game? I guess that's my big concern. This is the playoff first round of the playoffs that matters now. I don't think it'll be an issue, but that's my only concern, just to play devil's advocate here. But I'm still taking the Overton Mustangs.
Okay. Yeah. Look at the schedule. You're right. They haven't, but I mean, look at Overton's district. I mean, they are some monsters in this district. I expect this district to take the sweep. I think Overton, Mount Enterprise, Lovelady, and Grapeland all win this week. So give me the Overton Mustangs in this one. And I think we'll look at the path here shortly, but I think they've got a path to a possible rematch with a certain running back from Mount Enterprise later down the line. All right, game 4. This one's a tough one. You've got Woodville and West Rusk, the battle of the W's. And I forgot to mention on that game 3, and we'll go over our schedule again. That game will be an FHS game brought to you by NETSN, the West Sabine Overton game. So we'll talk about all those later. Also, game 4 here, Woodville and West Rusk, will also be a game that we will cover for NFHS. NETSN will. So we'll also be putting all those links out later. Just wanted to mention it. Woodville and West Rusk. KO, I'm going to go to you first here. You were high on Woodville. We hadn't really talked about them much lately. West Rusk has also been in our poll. Like, what are you thinking here with this game? I mean, this is a tough first round matchup to try to judge.
Yeah, this one's extremely difficult. I mean, if you look at West Rusk, like we talked about, that loss to Malakoff earlier in the season, and then a loss to Troop and Arp. I think combined they got 4 losses between those 3 teams. So those are good teams, and they were in all those games. So, but then you look at Woodville, and yeah, they took a rough loss in the first week of the season to Orangefield, but after that, their only other losses to Newton. Granted, they got blown out by Newton, but I guess what kind of concerns me is the close game with Anderson-Shiro the week after that, because Anderson-Shiro finished under 500. They made the playoffs, but they're under 500. Then they didn't really blow out New Waverly. I mean, they won by 13, and New Waverly's 3-7. And then Kuntz, which is a good team, they beat by 3. So they're winning these games. They're winning close ones. But then you look at West Rusk, they got that win over Gladewater, that 1-point win over Gladewater early in the year, and they've won these close games where Woodville has too. I mean, this one's tough, man. I don't think Woodville has the team that they had last year, obviously, that to make a run back to a state championship game. This is a tough first round matchup, man. And you went to me first, so I got to be the first one to make a pick out of us 3. I appreciate that. I think I like West Rusk's defense more than I like Woodville, so I'm going to take the West Rusk Raiders in this one.
Okay, Jeremy.
Yeah, I mean, obviously we're only 4 into our picks, but I think this is the toughest one of the 4 so far, right? Like, and again, not that, I mean, man, we've seen West Rusk, right? We saw him beat a really, really good Gladewater team and play good defense. I'm gonna ride the defensive stalwart that we've seen with Coach Mata And I'm going to take what I know versus what I don't know, and I know that defense can play, and so I'm going to go with West Rusk.
Okay. This one's tough. I have seen West Rusk a lot, and the main thing that concerns me is they go through stretches where they have trouble on offense. They have a great defense. We've talked about it, but there's times where they just struggle to move the football, and it just takes one of those games. I mean, we've seen them play against we saw them play against was that Buffalo a few weeks ago, and Buffalo exposed them a little bit on the ground. They were able to run the football quite a bit and move the ball up and down the field. Now, when they threw it up, Cam Brown was able to come down with interceptions. And what concerns me is Woodville, what they like to do is run the football. I can't think of the back's name. Kyle might remember, but they've got a bruising tailback. Do you remember his name, KO?
Dustin Barlow.
Barlow, yes. And we saw him last year, and that guy is hard to bring down. And it scares me that West Rusk struggled. And Jeremy, you saw it. They struggle with Buffalo's running game. So it really scares me to go with West Rusk. I want to pick West Rusk, but man, Woodville in that running attack, it's going to be tough.
The question is though, does Woodville's quarterback have that same running ability? Because I think that was the difference with Buffalo is that their quarterback was that zone read was, and I don't know. Like I said, I haven't watched them, so I'm not saying they don't.
Luke Babin's got D1 offers.
Right.
He's an impressive quarterback.
Okay.
I can't remember exactly where he's got offers to, but he's got some offers out there. Man, I think I'm going to take Woodville. I'm going to be cheering for West Rusk, but I saw Woodville last year and how they can just pound it and pound it right down your throat. And West Rusk really struggle with that here as of late. And with Babin and Barlow in the backfield, that's a tough 1-2 combination. Like, I don't know. I struggle with that.
Luke Babin is committed to Vanderbilt.
Yeah. And
he was also as a sophomore in track, he ran a 22.68 200-meter time, and he was a regional qualifier in the 110 hurdles. He could, so to your point, like you didn't know if Babin can, he can move with his legs too. So he's he's a mobile quarterback, and I think he's going to be a problem. And
that's what Buffalo did to West Rusk. They had the 1-2 game with the back and the quarterback. So I'm going to go with Woodville. I'm going to be cheering for West Rusk. We'll have this game for NFHS, but I'm going to pick Woodville because I just think.
Hold on, now I'm undecided. After listening to y'all, because I haven't seen West Rusk all year, and I haven't seen Woodville either. But you are saying that they struggle with this run game, and yes, Woodville is going to pound the freaking rock. But they can also throw it. Babin can throw too, but he's a multi-sport athlete. He's a dual threat at the quarterback.
Earlier in the year, they did hold Gladewater. Like Gladewater was still able to run it, but they only held them to the 14 points. They would get the win. Now there was some spots in that game where Gladewater probably should have scored more and had some issues with doing some kneeling instead of throwing the ball down and some other things. So recently I just saw them play against a lower Buffalo team, which was not in the playoffs. They were already out. And if they don't turn the ball over, throwing the ball up, if they'd have just kept pounding it, I think they might have had a chance to get that game. Like, now I didn't see the ARP game of how it turned out. But that Zane Bork is a mobile quarterback as well. I don't know how many yards he had or anything like that, but I don't think ARP throws the ball a ton either. So, I mean, you may have access to some stats on that, KO.
I'm about to say, hold on. We're about to figure this out.
Because
offensive stats. Bork, they threw it. Bork was 5 of 6 passing for 30 yards. Ty Langley was 1 of 2 for 12. So they had 42 yards passing. Josh Smith did the damage on the ground for ARP, 226 yards and 3 touchdowns. Bork only had 6 carries for 20 yards.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
And Langley didn't have any carries. So, yeah, they only ran from the quarterback position. But they didn't have to if Josh Smith is, racking up 226 yards rushing. They don't have to run with the quarterback at that point.
Yeah. I don't know.
But Art putting up 226 yards at the running back position and now West Russ is going up against a team that loves to run the football. That concerns me.
Yeah. Barlow's a beast too. I don't know. I'm sticking with Woodville there. KO, you gonna think about this, or you still?
I'm gonna stay with West Russ for right now.
Okay.
Yeah, right. I'm swinging. I'm leaning toward the middle too. I'm like, ooh, I don't know.
All right. Game 5. Wascom and Cooper. Wascom and Cooper. Man. This one's interesting. Cooper, I don't know. It's hard to know with Wascom. This district has just been so weird, like with Wascom, Elysian Fields, and Beckville all beating each other. I feel like they're still pretty solid, that top 3. Wascom ended up with the 2 seed, so Cooper is the 3 seed out of this district. I know I've seen Cooper in the past. They have some big boys up front. They rely on their line to push people around. I think Wascom's going to have the speed advantage in this game, and I'm going to take the Wascom Wildcats to get the win in this one. Jeremy, who you got in this one?
Yeah, I mean, again, I haven't seen Wascom in person, but we did see Elysian Fields in person, and Wascom was able to come out with a W there, and got to see a little bit of that game, watching it by video, and I'm going to take Wascom.
KO?
Yeah. Yeah. I'm taking Wascom. I was going to try and make a case for Cooper, but I'm not. Wascom. Give me Wascom.
Okay. Game 6. Gladewater and Mount Vernon. Oh, what a matchup. Mount Vernon coming off a win over Commerce. Gladewater 9-1. Their only loss to a West Russ team, which if you go back and talk to Coach Lewis about this game, they probably should have won. They should be 10-0 sitting right here. Man, I just
quick note on this game, just so the viewers at home understand.
Oh, yeah.
This is a home game for Mount Vernon. This
Correct.
game is in Mount Vernon at Dandy Don Meredith Field. So this is a home game for the Tigers. Just so everybody knows.
Yeah, that's what makes this difficult, because you've got the number 1 seed. Now they get to go on the road and play a playoff game.
Now, Carthage did this last year. Carthage played a true road game in the first round on the road at Spring Hill and destroyed them. Now, I'm not saying this is the same thing.
I don't think that's the same thing here. When's the last time Spring Hill was a football powerhouse?
Probably before I was born.
I don't ever remember that. Basketball, baseball, some other sports, maybe baseball for sure. They're a solid program. Carthage can probably just go on. They don't care where they play, right? I mean, they'll go play in the backyard somewhere and get the dub. I don't think that this is not the same. Obviously, I still think Gladewater is a better football team. I think they are a very solid football team. So I'm going to take Gladewater, but this is a scary one. You've got a team that did not make the playoffs last year. Not a lot of playoff experience on this roster. And they're going to have to go on the road for their first playoff game in a hostile environment in Mount Vernon. So it worries me a little bit, but I'm going to stick with Coach Lewis and the Gladewater Bears. Jeremy.
All right, so I'm going to need some education here, because the math doesn't math for me. Why is the number 1 seed on the road to the number 4 seed?
I have an answer for you.
Okay, good.
Coach Lewis,
this doesn't make any sense.
Coach Lewis said that they lost a coin toss. He lost a coin toss. They did a home and home flip, and he lost a coin toss.
Okay.
Okay.
Because I don't know. To me, that's okay. Anyway, what? It seems like a terrible thing, but okay. I don't know. To me, that's
but
a
the
neutral
deal.
side.
The deal is now. So if these two teams, the next time these two teams meet in the playoffs, it's playing in Gladewater. So they flipped for the home and home. He lost it this year, but if these two teams meet again in the playoffs
So
at
in
some
20
point,
years when they meet again and these coaches
it's
are
a home game for Gladewater.
Okay.
Gotcha.
All right.
Man, I believe in Coach Lewis. Again, I think Mount Vernon winning last week against Commerce gives me a little pause. But again, we don't know how many players from Commerce played. Did they play their full squad? Did they play part? Right? We don't know. But I have seen Gladewater multiple times in person. And again, the game they lost to West Rusk. Again, West Rusk won that game, but Gladewater did everything they could to lose that game at the same time. And so I'm going to take the Gladewater Bears and Coach Lewis to keep the momentum of a fantastic season and keep it going.
Kyle?
This one worries me. I am worried about this one, and not so much for the fact that they're playing a true road game, but so little history lesson here.
Okay.
Who's ready for story time with KO, baby? All right. So
Ready.
more than a couple years ago, but when I was at the radio station, we did a Gladewater Mount Vernon playoff football game when Coach Levere was still at Gladewater and when Art Briles was at Mount Vernon. Gladewater had a phenomenal regular season, was rolling through opponents. Mount Vernon snuck in as a 4 seed and absolutely mollywopped Gladewater in the first round. Then the following year, Gladewater and Mount Vernon play, I think, a little deeper in the playoffs. Kind of a similar situation. Gladewater rolling, Mount Vernon just kind of there. And again, Mount Vernon destroyed Gladewater. So the other key to that, Coach Lou was on the staff at that time at Gladewater, so I know he remembers that. That is my concern. It's kind of it's not the same thing, but it's similar to a Winsboro-Malakoff situation. Like, at this point, is Mount Vernon in Gladewater's head? Like, is it a mental thing now? Kind of like, I feel like when Winsboro sees Malakoff, they just see red because Malakoff has their number. Is this a similar situation, or has enough time passed where things have kind of reset now and you can move forward? I think that's what's going to happen. I'm taking Coach Lewis and the Gladewater Bears, but I am concerned about this game, especially Mount Vernon has all the momentum right now. I know Gladewater got a win on Friday, but Mount Vernon coming in here just slayed a giant, just knocked off Commerce, who only had one loss on the year. Now they're facing another giant this week. They got the message right there. Why not us? Why not do it again? Do the same thing we just did last week. So I think this is a scary situation. If you're a Gladewater fan, this is I don't want to say a trap game because playoffs, I don't think you can have a trap game, but this is one where Gladewater could get got in this game. And I hope it doesn't happen, but it's possible. I'm taking the Bears.
All right. Well, yeah, I want to mention too, this is another game we have. NETSN is going to be broadcasting this game for an FHS. So we'll have that one on as well. Yeah, I'm with you, Kyle. It worries me a little bit, but I just can't. Gladewater's done so well this year. It's just hard to pick against them. Now, this next game, Kyle, I want to send this one to you first because it's Commerce against Jefferson. Now, I know, Kyle, you were high on Jefferson. That's why I'm sending this to you first. This is your pick to win this half of the bracket to go to Jerry's World preseason. Does that continue? Does their season continue? Can they get the win over a Commerce team, which kind of came out of nowhere this year to surprise everyone? Round one, another 1-4 seed. What do you think?
I hate this matchup. I hate it. I mean, I hate it from a fact that I have to pick it. I think it's going to be a phenomenal game. I guess my question is, with Commerce, what happened Friday, right? Like, did they just overlook Mount Vernon? Was it a resting situation? Or is this a sign of something bigger? Like, did Mount Vernon expose something that now Jefferson can take advantage of? And if you're Jefferson, you just played a playoff game. Last week, you had a playoff game to get into the playoffs against Tatum, and you went out there and absolutely steamrolled them. Like, you went out there and dominated and got back to the Bayou Bully moniker that we've come to know from Jefferson. This one's tough. It doesn't get much tougher of a first round matchup than this if you're looking at it. Yeah, I may regret this, but maybe not. But since I'm going with who I picked early in the year, I picked Jefferson. So in this first round matchup, I'm going to take Jefferson with the upset over Commerce. Give me the Bayou
right
Bulls.
to the end.
Well, at least this week.
Jeremy?
Yeah, I think this is a tough one. I mean, again, I think the thing that, again, Jefferson had to win to get in, but they played a Tatum team who we know all year has been up and down, right? They're especially offensively. They've been very Jekyll and Hyde, like feast and famine, right? It's not been a consistently good offensive team. Again, I was high on Jefferson as well early in the year. They kind of fell off, and they make me nervous because I feel like that point of the year where they should have kind of been hitting their stride, they really stumbled, right? And again, they were able to right the ship and kind of come back around. And then you have a Commerce team who pretty well was cruising most of the year, right? And then stumble here, late. I mean, their other loss was to Edgewood, right? And then they beat Malakoff. They beat Winsboro, right? Like they beat the two. I mean, they beat. I mean, I'm circling my way around this one. I'm going to take Commerce in this one. I would be more than happy if Jefferson won, but I think I'm going to take Commerce here.
Okay. Commerce ran off 8 straight wins. They're bookended with losses. Their losses are to Edgewood, playoff team, and Mount Vernon, also a playoff team. You look at who they've played, obviously a really solid schedule. There's got some big blowout wins in some of the easier district games. But you look at, I want to compare that to Jefferson at their kind of season. Jefferson's losses. Newton. Is Newton a pretty good football team? I think they are. They lost to Gladewater by 1 point, which is weird because they kind of seem like maybe they're second. Well, then they lost to Atlanta by 7. And then the Liberty Isle one is the head scratcher to me. Like, what happened in that game? A home game against Liberty Isle, and they got blown out by 23. That's the oddball here of this whole scenario. Like, if they don't have that lopsided loss, I just don't know what to expect. I think it's going to come down to what district do you think is stronger? To me, I just don't know. I think this one can go either way. I kind of wish this was a home and home game too. Then maybe I just go with the home team, right? I mean, maybe the home team wins and we just move on. Man, I don't know, man. Commerce, they're a solid football team because they've got that many wins in a row, but it's Jefferson they're playing. This one's hard. This one's difficult. Who made these picks?
And you made me go first without having any knowledge of any of this. At least you have the full scope of things.
Yeah. I mean, you can still change your pick. Remember, like you still got that pick in limbo. Remember we talked about a while ago. I mean,
and it's still in limbo.
Oh man. I think I want to go with Jefferson. I think I just like Commerce needs to show me something in the playoff wise. Like I haven't seen them do anything. Jefferson's been a perennial power. They've played rounds and rounds of playoff. So I'm going to go with Jefferson. Do I feel great about it? Absolutely not. But I think I'm going to go with Jefferson here. All right, game 8. Game 8's one where if we were picking this game preseason, I'd be like, man, this is a tough pick. But right now, these two teams are not going the same direction, it feels like. Center coming off a win over Rusk by 7. I know Rusk is improved. Coach Welch is doing a great job out there. I'm sure he'll have them, doing well here in the next couple of years. He's a really good coach. But Give me Van, and give me Van by several scores. Unfortunately, I know Center's one of our schools we cover, and we will have this game also on NFHS. NETSN will, and I think Van is just a better football team right now, and Center's just struggling. They have, talking to people, they struggle with playing an entire game. Center does. They play well for a while, and then stretches they play well, but they just can't put a complete game together. And it's hard to pick against what they've got going on over there in Van. So I'm going with Van. Jeremy, who you got?
Yeah, I mean, I would have prior to this week, I would have leaned Van. I think the game against Russ makes me even more nervous for Center, right? I mean, only winning that game by 7, and again, Rusk has gotten better, but they're also a one-win team, right? And you shouldn't beat a one-win team at the end of the season by just 7 if you want to make noise in the playoffs. So I'm going to pick the Van Vandals to get the W, and again, I think it's probably 2 scores.
Yeah, I got my red on, and I'm taking the Van Vandals. I don't think that if they struggle with Center, then I'll be concerned because I think, like you said, they're trending in different directions. I think Van's the better football team, and I think they'll prove it Friday.
All right, game 9, Atlanta and Winsboro. This is the 4th game in this district. These all were. I just couldn't pass these games up because they're just 2 good East Texas teams battling it out. And we're going to send this one to Jeremy this time to go first.
Atlanta I had this weird feeling this was going to happen. And I was really hoping it wasn't going to happen. Yeah, I mean, I've had Winsboro at the top of my poll, or toward the top of my poll most of the year. But then they go out and only put up 7 points against Malakoff, right? This potent offense sputters at a time where you don't want to have your offense sputter. Atlanta's coming in here. I mean, they've got a good record. They both have an 8-2 record, right? So we're looking at 2 really, really solid teams. Atlanta's 2 losses are to Pleasant Grove and Gladewater, right? And then you go over there to Winsboro, and their 2 losses are to Commerce and Malakoff. Both of them really good teams. And so there's not even like one of those where you can like look at who they lost to and go, oh yeah, this is who's going to win because, I mean, they both played a really good schedule. I think they're both really, really good teams. This game is in where's this one at? I just went blank.
It's in Winsboro.
In Winsboro, that's right. Okay. Man, that shoot. Can I pick the verses? Can I pick the middle?
I think that would mean you just miss it. I think it won't be that one.
Okay. Oh man. I'm gonna go. I think because it's a home game, I think that gives Winsboro a slight edge as far as that goes. Man, I don't. Yeah, I'm gonna go Winsboro in a squeaker.
Okay, KO.
So this Winsboro offense laid an egg last week, but I think it was more of Malakoff's defense than Winsboro's offense. Now, and Winsboro had a couple of drops on the opening drive. There was 2 for sure drops that could have kept the drive alive. I don't see Winsboro having back-to-back bad offensive games like that. Atlanta's going to be athletic, though. Atlanta's going to have a ton of speed, a ton of athleticism that's going to make things difficult for Winsboro. If I have a message to Coach Finney and the Red Raiders, get Camden Capehart involved. He's the fastest player on the field, bar none. Let's get him involved in the game a little bit. I think that was and I didn't watch the film. I don't know. I'm sure Malakoff did things defensively to take him out of the game and make that difficult. But I think when you have the best athlete on the field, you have to figure out a way to get the ball in his hands somehow, some way. So I think playing at home helps a lot. I think that loss to Malakoff last week just pissed Winsboro off. And so I think they're going to come out Friday and have a good game.
Yeah, I think this is one of those games that can go either way. I think that home field is huge in this one. I think the teams are close enough, competition wise. You look at their common opponent. They both play Hooks. Winsboro beat Hooks by 10. Atlanta beat them by 7, I believe. So, they both had them on their schedule. I don't know. It's close. 10-7. That doesn't show me much. I'm going with the home field advantage, though. I think Winsboro having the home field in this one is humongous right now. They've also got a ton of playoff experience over the last several years, and so I think that also is a factor here. So I'm going with Winsboro.
I think too that Winsboro may have a little extra motivation to, if Malakoff keeps winning and Winsboro keeps winning, they get another shot at Malakoff, and this time a chance to knock them out of the playoffs. So
it's true.
I think there may be a little extra motivation for Winsboro too.
True. Game 10, Athens and Gilmer. Maybe one of the most marquee matchups of the year as far as programs go. This is another game that NETSN will be at. That's where Jeremy and I will be at Friday night. And Kyle, you will be joining us there, maybe?
Yeah, absolutely. Not on the broadcast, but it's the Red Zone game of the week for the bi-district round of the playoffs. So I'll be at Lions Stadium in Henderson with you. Listen, this one has storylines galore out of it. Athens has not won a playoff game in 10 years. They're looking for their first playoff win since 2015. Coach Harrell has those boys playing phenomenal football this season. David Richardson, their quarterback, is outstanding. He just set a school record a couple weeks ago with the most passing touchdowns in a season. So they're doing everything right this season. On the flip side, you got Gilmer, who's coming in here kind of under the radar.
Lost his ear. Got to switch to the other one. Kyle, I want to get you some new pods there, man.
Listen, it's you got to go with the off-brand, or not off-brand, but the non-Apple brand. They last a lot longer. I'm just saying.
All right, Kyle, we got back.
No, but we'll go off this. We'll go off the computer. So, what I was saying though, with Gilmer, two different directions these teams or seasons, right? Like Gilmer's under 500, and I don't know the last time that Gilmer was under 500 going into the playoffs, but I guarantee you it hadn't been much. So, but Gilmer's got the pedigree, and when you look at who Gilmer's lost to, the Lindells, the Chapel Hills, the Kilgores, the Pleasant Groves, they've lost to some very quality football teams. Now, in years past, they win those games, and they're not this year. So it's really hard to get a gauge on this Gilmer team, but they got the pedigree. They got the coach and Coach Metzel that has been in this position before. He knows how to get the boys motivated in situations like this. And even though it looks on the outside like the sky is falling, it's not in Gilmer. In Gilmer, they know how good or how far this team can go. And so that makes this game very intriguing to me because you have two different teams. You have one team that's kind of on the come up in Athens, and then you have another team in Gilmer that's been there for years. And if they went out and won Friday night, it wouldn't be a surprise to me at all. Like, no matter the season that Gilmer's had, if they go out and win Friday, I wouldn't be shocked. But if Athens goes out and wins, I think we'll all be like, well, yeah, that's what should have happened. Athens is the better team. So it's one of those weird scenarios where it's hard to choose. But listen, I think their offense is phenomenal. Defense hasn't played great every game, but I think they can get enough stops here to let the offense cook. So I'm going to take the Athens Hornets to get their first playoff win in 10 years.
Jeremy?
Yeah, for one, I'm excited that we get to be on the call for this game. Again, getting to see this, again, this Gilmer Buckeye program has been a storied program for as long as I can remember. And again, I'm a Texas transplant, right? I'm not from here originally, but Gilmer has been a team that everybody knows, everybody talks about when you're in this East Texas area. They have the history. And then you've got Athens and you've got the Hornets. And I don't know. I'm just feeling a buzz about this team, pun intended. And so I'm going to go with the Hornets. I think they're going to do exactly what they need to do to get this done. And I think the slow start is going to come back to hurt Gilmer at some point. And I think it's in this situation where the game maybe doesn't go their way early or something like that, where I think you start to question like, maybe is this deja vu, like going back to what, I think that's going to be the big key is, can Athens force some adversity early in the game? And if they can, then I think that the game may not be as close, but I'm going to take Athens in this one.
All right. Yeah, make it a sweep. I'm going with Athens. I mean, they've been impressive all year long. I think the way they competed against the Carthage team, which really hasn't had that much adversity all year. I mean, they played them closer than Kilgore did. So, I mean, that tells you a lot and how good Kilgore is and how Kilgore beat Gilmer. You remember that score? It wasn't pretty this year. So, I mean, obviously that was early in the season. I think Gilmer's playing better now. I just don't think they're at Athens level, and I think Athens wins this one. I do think we could see a lot of points in this game. I think it could be a defense is optional maybe. There could be a lot of points, and, maybe I'll jinx it. Maybe there will be a 7-0 game. I don't know, but, I lean along the lines of it's going to be a shootout there.
Yeah, I think we're going to be there a long time Friday night. I think it's going to be a lot of points.
Well, me and Jeremy are there. We're always the last game to be done for the evening, KO. Sorry about that.
Well, maybe I need to change our game of the week then. Maybe
we do. We bring the viewers and we bring the time. Like, if you're going to invest some time in a game, why not get to invest a lot of time in a game, right? It makes it more fun.
Sure. That's one way of looking at it.
All right, so now
I made a mistake. I already submitted my picks, so I can't waffle on the West Rusk Woodville one anymore. My picks already submitted.
I have not submitted my picks, and the more I thought about it, I'm going to make – again, I love West Rusk. I love the Raiders. I hope that they win, but I am. I'm going to do the thing I have not done all year. I have not changed my mind once this whole season. But, again, knowing that Woodville is going to run the ball a lot, and that's been the Achilles heel the last 2 weeks of the Raiders, I'm gonna make the switch. So, again, my heart says West Rusk. I want them to win because they're one of the teams that we've covered a bunch this year, and I have a lot of respect for that team. But the rushing defense is maybe nervous, and so I'm gonna pick Woodville on the swap. And so I don't like to be a waffler, but this time I'm gonna put some stuff on my waffle
now. Thanks. I feel great. This is awesome. Let's go Raiders. Come on, West Rusk. Come on, baby.
Man. All right. So before we get started, we're going to talk playoff brackets. Before we get started, I'm going to give a nice, if you haven't seen, if you're watching this show and you have not downloaded and signed up for our NETSN app, I don't know what you've been doing or where you've been, but you've got to get this app. We've got a ton of improvements. Some I'm about to show you that's been sitting there all season, but they are now ready for the playoffs. And so I want to kind of give everyone an overview of what it looks like. And Jeremy is my app guy. He always likes to. He's great at promoting it. And I'm going to put it up on the screen here, Jeremy. And just give us an overview here of what we've got here in the NETSN app.
Yeah, sure. So, I mean, again, I think that the best thing is that when you subscribe to the app and you like a team, you're going to get a notification every single time that game goes live if we're covering that team. That's one of my favorite things. You go in early, you pick a few teams. And, again, anything that we do that we have streamed live, whether it's this show, whether it's anything else that we do, that all comes in that live link there you can click on. And, again, you can see broadcasts that we've done all year long. You can see coaches shows, all kinds of stuff, right? There's just a plethora of items there. And then my other big, I think, my favorite thing about the game part is if you click on scores and you click on a team that you want to go watch that game and you want to be there and you've never been to that stadium, you can click a button that says Stadium Directions. Brett's clicking on it there, and it literally takes you to a map where you can pull up that stadium's directions. You can hit start, and it'll take you from where you are to the stadium. And that's something that I don't know of any other app that does that. Usually they might tell you the name of the stadium, and then you got to like, hopefully there's not 75 different Panther stadiums that you got to Google. But I love that feature. That's one of my favorite ones. And again,
for playoffs, that's something that you have that, because they're not normally playing at either the home team. It's going to be a neutral site for the most time. So you have, and it popped up. You can't see it here on the screen, but it'll pop up on your phone device, and you got the directions to right there. There's also game chat here for those that like to chat back and forth. Kind of a hidden feature there that you can do. You can also share the score. It'll allow you to share it with some friends there, and we can retweet it and do all kinds of stuff with it as well. So
and you can put in scores, and so that allows us to update scores as you go. So if you're at a game and you punch that in, then everybody across that has the app can get the updated score and time on that. I mean, that's barely touching the surface of what's there, and I think we're about to hit on my new favorite thing that's going to be there. But it's a great app, and again, it's free. And that's the craziest part about the whole thing.
And we've got the entire playoff bracket in there, not just East Texas. So everything is in there from 6A to 2A. The TAPS one will be in there as well shortly. It may be in there now. I'm not sure if it got submitted yet, but it'll be in there also. And so you can find the teams here just like you always know how to find them. But if you're like, hey, you're a Frankston fan, you're like, I don't know who we're going to play. Well, you can go in the new part of the app. So you go over and hit this playoff button right here, and you can go over to 3A Division or 2A Division 1, right here. And now you can scroll down and you can see all the teams and games that are available. So if you're Frankston, you scroll down and find yourself actually they're in the top here. Right here. So now you can see you're going to play the winner of Wolf City and De Leon right there. And you can also keep it on this tab and just click on the actual game, and it takes you right to the same location. So still get your stadium directions and everything else you have. So pretty cool. And you've got all the divisions here for the UIL. This is the UIL one. There'll be a TAPS one as well. But you can find the games. All of them have scores of 0-0. And when the score changes, you'll see the score right here. So you can see all the scores from the outside. If you want to refresh it, you just pull down from the top, and it'll refresh the entire bracket, and it'll refresh all the scores there. And then also that will help us too. So when the game ends Friday, and you see maybe you're playing one of these, maybe it's Temple and Duncanville, and you know the score of that game, you can put it in and submit the final score, and it will move them over to the next round. And then once we get the games and stuff, locations over the weekend, and they'll be there as well. And we'll send out a push notification to let you know. KO, what about you? What's your favorite piece of the app?
Oh yeah,
all of it. The part that it's free. No, I think this the playoffs though is a great addition to it, because you're right. Like, it's a lot of times you want to see, well, if this team beats so and so, who do they play next? And it's easy to see the path on who they could meet up with in later rounds and all that. And it's all at one place that you could go. You don't have to bring up one app and then bring up another app to look at scores. Like, you can do it all from the same app right there. And I think that's what makes it's convenient. And that's what you want to have to be, is convenient. Right at your fingertips, you got everything you need.
All right.
Yeah, and I think the other thing too, like you were saying, you can click on scores and you can click on the date. You can click on Thursday and you can see which of those games. So like you can look at it from the bracket version, and you can also go to scores and click Thursday, November 13th, and then you can look and see what all is there too. So you get kind of the best of both worlds on that as well. And so it gives you a lot of options where to look for scores. And then again, as they final, you'll see teams kick over, which is cool too.
Yep. All right. So y'all ready to look at some brackets?
Let's do it.
All right. So we'll start with 6A here. Let's find the Longview Lobos here. They came in as a 3rd seed, KO. How are we feeling about Longview's chances to do something? I know that they're in now, so you never want to see that big L flag across from you if you're in the same stadium, if you're the visiting team. What What do you think their chances are here to move on?
I think they have a good chance. I'm just concerned about their defense, or not the defense, the offense. I mean, defensively, I think they can play with anybody, but offensively, will they be able to score on those possessions that the defense gets for them? And I think that's where they've come up short in their 4 losses this year. Again, their 4 losses are, by 3, 3, 1, and 4. Like, it's not like they're getting blown out in these games. They're right in them. I think there's going to come a time where the offense is going to need to show up, and will they be able to? That's my only concern. I think they beat Rowlett.
They're in a tough spot, though, KO. If you look down below.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. I think they beat Rowlett, but I don't know if they get much further than that, because DeSoto lurking in the second round is not exactly what you want to see there. Now, Longview and DeSoto played last year, but it was a regional final. It was not the second round. So I think that's a little concerning, but I think they get past the first round in Rowlett. After that, it's going to be as far as the offense can take them. I mean, or as far as the defense can take them. I mean, the offense is going to have to pull its weight too, but when you have a defense like Longview has, you're going to be in every single game. It's just, will the offense be able to do enough to get the win? I think they can in round 1. I'm not so sure in round 2.
Jeremy, what do you think about that bracket there?
Yeah, I mean, I think I agree with KO. I think they win against Rowlett. But man, to have to face, the potential of facing DeSoto in round 2. I mean, that, like you said, that's typically a couple rounds deeper matchup. And so, I don't think Coach King and the Lobos are going to shy away from any matchup, right? But I think that this will be one of their tougher roads to get where they want to get to versus some other years where they've had a little bit of a, those games like the DeSoto doesn't come until 3, 4, 5 rounds in, 4 rounds in, and so it just changes the landscape a little bit. They've got a tough road, but again, their losses are all close losses, and so a couple plays change those close losses to a win. And so, I mean, they've been in those games, so it won't be the first time they've been in a tight game. And so I think that gives you a bit of an advantage in the playoffs when that happens. So,
all right, let's move over to 5A here, Division 1. You've got a couple of teams here. Here's Tyler High. They're going to face Cedar Park. Kyle, you talked about how excited they were to get in. What are you looking at the chances of Tyler High doing any damage here in this bracket?
I don't know a lot about Dallas teams, so Diggsy may disagree with me here, but I think they have a good chance of making it to maybe the 3rd round in a rematch with Highland Park. I mean, when you look at it, Cedar Park's not going to be easy by any means, I don't think. But then you got either Carrollton Smith or Frisco Wakeland in the 2nd round. I mean, we've seen, again, this offense for Tyler High is explosive. They can put up a ton of points. So I think it's kind of that effect of you can't count them out of any game, because if they can score on offense, they're going to be in any ball game. So, I mean, I like the draw that they got. I think it's a good draw for them. Will they be able to get some stops defensively? That's the question. But I like the draw they got.
Jeremy, you knew they were going to get in even last week. So what do you think about this spot? What are they going to do now?
That's a good question. I think they can get a win round 1. And then again, I mean, they're just they're an interesting team because they can score a lot of points. But their struggles this year have been when they do score a lot of points, getting that one stop they need, right? Getting that stop late in the game or getting that critical stop as they're trying to make a comeback. And so I think that's the thing that worries me about them a little bit is, their defense has been a little bit hit and miss. But again, all you got to do is get in and then you got to win. And so I think they've got a shot of getting back to Highland Park, and I think they'd relish a matchup with them again after the success they had. And I think that's what, if I'm Coach Woods, I'm going back to looking at those teams that are above me in the district and going, hey, we had a chance against some of these teams and we didn't, we should have beaten Highland Park, right? And again, they're in a different group, but we should have beaten Marshall, right? Like, I think you can go back to some of those games and say, hey, look where we were. We were right there. And so I think, if you can get this team rolling at the right moment, I mean, again, that was a huge win over Red Oak. And so they've got momentum now. They just got to run with it.
All right. Let's move down. We got Lufkin down here in Region 3. They draw Houston Westbury there. Lufkin's been an interesting team this year. It's hard to figure out. Kyle, we've talked about them several times. We just didn't know what they had. I feel like that where they're at right now, they can make some noise here. I don't, they maybe they try to get that rematch. Barbers Hill, you see that in the possible third round. They could use that as motivation. They took that L last time.
I don't know if they're going to make it there, Brett. I think they win in first round because even though Westbury's got a 9-1 record, we know those Houston schools are usually not the strongest of opponents. So I think Lufkin could get a win in round 1, but lurking in round 2 is LaPorte, and they are no joke. The LaPorte Bulldogs down there play some real tough football. So I don't even know if Lufkin can get past LaPorte in the second round. The problem with Lufkin, I feel like a broken record talking with these first 3 teams, but their offense, like Lufkin's offense is super inconsistent. Javian Johnson.
Defense is optional around here, I guess, KO.
I guess so, unless you're Longview. Longview plays defense. They just struggle on the other side of the ball. But Lufkin can run the rock. They got Kenneth Waters at running back. They're a good running team. Javian Johnson's just inconsistent throwing the football, and I think that's where Lufkin's going to get bit. I think it's going to hurt them in the postseason, not being able to consistently hit those explosive plays and those big plays down the field that can really swing momentum. You can ground and pound all day, and you can get some big runs to change momentum. But I think the easiest thing to do is obviously on a special teams play or hitting a deep pass play. And I just don't know if Lufkin has that in their arsenal. They haven't shown it. They haven't shown that they can consistently hit those big plays. If they can start doing that, then yeah, I think they can have a rematch with Barbers Hill in round 3. But it's going to be some tough sledding to even get to that point. And again, I think they do. I think they are fine in round 1 on Saturday. But after that, if they got to play LaPorte, that's going to be a tall task.
Jeremy, you agree?
Yeah, I mean, I think KO hit that on the head. I mean, I think, again, you win this game, right? If you beat Houston Westbury, then LaPorte, right? And if you get by them, then you got to play Barbers Hill, right? Potentially. I mean, they've put themselves in a spot where it's tough, and and again they've kind of been that team where it's like we don't know which version we're going to get. Are they going to be able to put up points? Or are they not? Right? They've had some 7s and so I think that's what makes me nervous too. Is just even if they play good defense, can they get enough points up to get a W? So I think that's the concern for Lufkin is can they put both sides of the ball together? Can they win at all 3 phases?
Okay. All right, let's go Division 2 here. We've got our East Texas district. They match up with a really, really tough district. We'll start up here at the top. You've got Marshall going up against Huntsville. That's a tough matchup. Now, again, in 5A, they do host. So Marshall will host Huntsville, being the 2 seed. I'm surprised. Huntsville's them and PG have been the top of the district, so I'm surprised they're a 3. That's a tough matchup for Marshall. You've got, of course, P&G and NAC. That's going to be tough sledding for NAC. I've Coach House and them had a great season, but have to go down to P&G and play. That's going to be a tough one. Those 2 right there, Jeremy. I mean, does Marshall have enough to get that home win against a really good Huntsville program?
Yeah, I think the home thing is going to be the advantage, right? It's a good ways down to Huntsville. It's not a short little jog down the road, right? It's a good little trip, and so I think if you're Marshall, you get the chance of resting a little bit, right, while they travel to you, and so I think that's going to lend Marshall. I don't know if advantage is the right word, but I think it's going to help them. But that's a tough one, and then. If you win that one, I think you have a Terrell team that hasn't lost. I mean, or maybe has lost once. They've been a really solid team this year. And so, I mean, they've got a tough run. It's not, again, it's that time of year, right? Like there aren't many chances where you're like, oh yeah, these teams are easily going to go 5 rounds deep. There's very few teams where you get to say that, but it's a tough road.
And then of course you got also Texas High there, hosting, I guess they're hosting Montgomery Lake Creek there, and then Mount Pleasant's going to travel to Montgomery. I don't know much about Montgomery or these teams. Kyle, what are you thinking? Does Texas High the only team that wins, or does anybody else get a win out of this district?
Yeah, I think so. I think Mount Pleasant gets a win. I think Marshall gets a win. I think Texas High gets a win. I think Knack loses.
3 out of 4?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think Port Neches is probably one of the best teams in this region. And so that's a tough draw for Knack. But Knack did this to themselves. They on a 3-game losing streak going into the playoffs. That's not the way you want to go into the postseason. But they're there for the first time in 4 years. So congratulations to the Dragons. But
Mount Pleasant would have a tough draw in round 2, though.
Well, so would Marshall, though. Like, I think that's what I was going to say is I don't know if any of them other than Texas High get past the second round, though. Like, I think 3 out of the 4 will win first round. But then, if you're Mount Pleasant, I love Mount Pleasant. But if you got South Oak Cliff in the second round, that is tough, Bubba. And then, like Jeremy said, Terrell, I believe they were undefeated district champs this year. So, yeah, that is an extremely tough game for Marshall in the second round. So, I think getting out of the first round, not easy by any means, but I think that we see the majority of them get out of the first round. I just don't know if anyone other than T-High is going to get past that second round. That is tough.
Yeah, it's a tough region. It really is. All right, let's go with 4A. 4A Division 1. We'll start up here. We've got we talked about Sulphur Springs with a big win. They match up with the Dallas schools, which aren't normally the strongest in football. So I think there's a good chance that the Sulphur Springs district sweeps all 4 games. What do you guys think? Is there anybody that you don't see winning there? I mean, Paris has got the number is the last seed. They've got Dallas Lincoln. I think 7-4A sweeps. I mean, we've been talking about all year how strong they are. Kyle,
if it was basketball, I would think differently. But we're playing football, so I think 8-4A is going to sweep 7-4A. But when you look at the routes, I think Sulphur Springs has a good chance of making it to the third round and getting a rematch with Panther Creek. Now, Panther Creek is going to have to get past a good Springtown team. They're district champs and they're playing really good ball. But I think if Panther Creek gets by them and Sulphur Springs, then you could have a Sulphur and Panther Creek rematch in round 3, and who wouldn't love that? And then in the bottom half of the district, it's or the region, bottom half of the region, I think it's still Salina and everybody else. I think Salina is still your favorite to get out of this region, but I think I think it's similar to what we'll talk about in Region 3. I think you're going to have at least 3 teams of the same district in that third round.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think that district's going to show its muscle, and I mean, Paris. I think they win round 1, and would it shock me if they knock somebody off in round 2? No, but I think you're right. I think 3 of those teams are pretty solid. They've got Decatur there. In that second round game, if they were able to win round 1, that'd be a tough matchup for Paris. But I think there's a good chance that, I mean, look at Sulphur Springs. They knocked off Panther Creek once. They may get another shot at them. Moving down to Region 3 there, you've got, of course, Chapel Hill at the 4. You got they're in that same little pocket with Kilgore. This region, and we've seen it over the last several years. District 9 is by far the best team, our best district in this region. Like it's shown itself, not just the top couple, but overall. And I will not be surprised if we have those 4 teams playing each other again in round 3. Like I would not be. I would be like, okay, I can see that. I think. You always have those, the Houston schools usually lose in the first round, or if they win, it's usually an easier game. Navasota's potentially an interesting matchup with Chapel Hill in round 2. They've been a pretty solid team over the years. I don't know. I think this to me is District 9's region. I think Kilgore overall, I think is the overwhelming favorite here to get out of this region. But it's going to be interesting to see if any of these teams can get the other teams come up in the second time through. We've seen it happen. Kilgore and Chapel Hill is a prime example. They every year Kilgore would win it against Chapel Hill in the regular season, and then Kilgore would get beat in the playoffs. This year, I don't know if that's going to happen. Chapel Hill struggled. We'll see what playoff team comes up for the Bulldogs. They have had success, but that bye week, well, interesting to see how they come off of that. Kyle, your Lindale Eagles sitting in there. They're going to get Huffman Hargrave at home, host a home game for the first time in, a long time, right?
It's not ever. I know that's what their post says. That's the first time ever, but it's not, because I called a game there when they played me.
That's what I'm saying. It's been a while. I saw that too, and I was like, well, Kyle said he called one there. I'm pretty sure.
That's fake news from them. But I probably should have reached out to somebody and told them, but I didn't. But I like the draw that Lindale got. I like this because I'm with you. I think the 4 teams out of 9-4A all make it to round 3. So you're going to get district matchups again. And thankfully for Lindale, they don't have to play Kilgore in the 3rd round. They would get Pine Tree in the 3rd round, which, hey, Pine Tree took them to the limit just a couple of weeks ago. So I'm not saying that's a slouch by any means, but if I had to choose, I would rather play Pine Tree than Kilgore in round 3. And so Chapel Hill got the rough draw there, if they make it to the 3rd round, having to face Kilgore again in the 3rd round. But to your point, this has happened many times before. And a lot of the times the team that wins in the regular season does not win in the postseason. So I think we're going to have a 9-4A Division I rematch in Region 3 for the final. I think it's going to come down to, in my opinion, it's going to come down to Lindale and Kilgore for the regional final. But I was watching Dave Campbell's bracket reveal, and Step brought up a team that he said could be a sleeper in this region, and it scares me. Fort Bend Crawford, who would be Lindale's 2nd round opponent. He said that is a sleeper team in this region, that if you're going to pick somebody outside of the East Texas schools, that is a team that could make some noise. So that concerns me a little bit. They're a brand new program, and we saw this with Iowa Colony just a couple of years ago. These brand new programs,
they're blowing up. They're big. Their numbers. They're probably moving up, in other words.
Yeah. So that concerns me a little bit, but I still think 9-4A is the class of this region, and I think all 4 teams make it to the 3rd round, and we have a 9-4A regional final.
Jeremy, what do you think here?
Yeah, I mean, I think the same thing. I think I'm excited for the potential of the Kilgore Lindale. Again, a lot of things have to play. So I'm not assuming this is a cakewalk for anybody, but I think when you look at that potential matchup, that's an exciting one, right? And again, I mean, you're excited for the opportunity potentially to have, Kilgore and Chapel Hill go head to head again, right? And maybe you see Lindale and Pine Tree. I mean, it's just those things where, like, if you didn't win that game, you could easily see that opponent again, right? And so I think that's something that you look forward to, and especially some of those games that were close, or maybe they weren't close, and you look at it and say, man, we really shot ourselves in the foot. It'll be fun. Again, it's fun to think about the future, but in the immediacy, you've got to take care of business. What's in front of you? You got to put the team in front of you away quickly, and try to do so in a way that allows you to rest and stay healthy. And so I think that's going to be the task for all 4 of these teams, is to get a win, a big win early as much as you can, to try to you don't want to have to use all the cards, all the tricks, and all the aces up your sleeve in that first round if you don't have to.
All right, let's go Division 2. Got an interesting bracket here. It's going to be in Region 2 here first. Gilmer Athens, we just talked about that game, and Center Van as well. Poor Brownsboro, your reward for making the playoffs. You got to go drive to Pleasant Grove, Texas, and play Pleasant Grove. Welcome to the playoffs, Brownsboro. And that's the thing. You look at Canton. Now they've put themselves not winning. They get past Caddo Mills. You're looking at a Pleasant Grove, Canton 2nd round game, Kyle. That's a tough draw right there for the Canton Eagles.
Well, yeah, and them losing takes away a Van Canton 2nd round matchup. And how about a Van Zant County rivalry in the 2nd round of the playoffs? That would have been awesome. Now, they could still meet for the regional final, but I don't think that'll happen. But
you heard it first.
Ayo
predicted it. He predicted
it.
No.
No. I did not predict that. But no, that is a tough draw for Canton. I mean, it's rough. It's not as bad as Brownsboro's draw, but it's a tough draw for Canton. Tough draw for Pittsburgh too, man. With the year that they've had, and then your first round matchup is Carthage. That is tough. But Carthage is not invincible. They're not invincible. I'm not, Jeremy, listen. I'm not saying an upset's happening. I'm not saying that.
Wait, we should have put that game on the pick 'em and let Kyle pick Pittsburgh.
No, I would not have. But all I'm saying is if you're Pittsburgh, what do you have to lose? Nobody's expecting you to win this game anyway, and those are dangerous teams. That's all I'm saying. Do I think Pittsburgh's going to pull off an upset? Absolutely not. But I'm just saying it makes it interesting. But in this region, it's Carthage's region to lose. I think we're getting a Carthage-Athens regional final rematch, which sign me up for that.
Yes.
Just go ahead and put it at Rose Stadium and call it a day, and let's have a good old time there. But I think that's
a ho-hum matchup potentially the week before that with Pleasant Grove and Carthage. I mean, that'd be pretty boring. No one wants to watch that one either, right? Like, geez, let's not throw the baby out with the bathwater.
Jeremy,
right? Like,
I've already covered that game twice the past 2 years. Do I need to see it a third time? Yes, please.
Yes.
Let's do it again.
Inject it in my veins. Let's go.
Oh man, and that's I think that's kind of what it comes down to. I think the question will be, Athens finishing second is kind of set up. I mean, we could see an Athens Van game as well. That would sign me up for that one. I think that would be an interesting matchup.
Van knocked Athens out of the playoffs in the first round last year.
Mm-hmm. So you got an Athens, probably an Athens Van, and then maybe a Carthage Pleasant Grove on the other side of the bracket.
Well, and that's assuming Van gets by Sunnyvale, right? Which is not going to be an easy task considering they just beat the tar out of Canton. I mean,
and Sunnyvale has beaten Van already this year. They played earlier this season, so Van's already lost to Sunnyvale.
Okay, so it could be a Sunnyvale Athens game then. That's
a crazy one too.
Yep, that one
again.
Too.
Sign me up.
Yeah.
Oh man. Okay, so let's go down here. So we got Westwood down in the bottom. I know they've kind of been on the struggle bus here as of late, losing a couple of games. I mean, what are we thinking for Westwood's chances here? You've got wait, they're not in this one, are they?
No, you're ahead of one. Yeah.
I'm ahead one. There's not anybody in this. You have this is the Jasper and Seal.
Yeah, there's nobody in 4AD2 in Region 3.
Okay. Yeah. I'm ahead of myself in Division 3A Division 1. Now this one we've talked a lot about this evening. Now we can kind of see what it looks like in the bracket form, which I like that. This is my favorite part where we can talk about the games, and now we can kind of see how it all can shape out. You've got Winsboro and Atlanta. We talked about that game. They're in a little pod with Whitesboro and Whitney. Liberty Island.
That'd be a fun second round game to try to be an announcer for Whitesboro and Winsboro. That's not going to get confusing.
Whitney, Winsboro, we got some W's. That's the W. What's Atlanta doing in that bracket there?
Yeah, no kidding.
You got Maypearl and Pottsboro is always a really good team. You could see Pottsboro and Malakoff in round 2 there. You got Jefferson and Commerce. I don't know much about West or Pilot Point. Let's see. You got Palmer. Grandview's always a solid team. They've had some matchups with Malakoff over the last couple of years. I don't see any reason why that we don't have 4 East Texas teams in that third round either. I think there's a very good chance. I don't know which. Can I tell you which ones? No, I can't, because it's going to depend on who wins these opening round games. But there's a very good chance that I think that those 2 districts will come out strong and at least get 2 or 3 in that Final Four, at least, if not all of them. Kyle, what do you think about this region here?
It's awesome. I think it's wide open though. I don't think there's a favorite necessarily. I can see Winsboro-Malakoff rematch in the top half of that in the third round. And since I picked Jefferson to beat Commerce, I could see a Jefferson-Gladewater rematch in the third round at the bottom half of that bracket. So, I'm kind of with you. I think we have 4 East Texas teams make it to the third round. I'm just not sure which 4 it's going to be. I mean, I could see Mount Vernon beating Gladewater and then them going on that little run to the third round. So I don't know. I think it's going to be a fun region to keep up with. If I had to choose right now, today, to win the region, I think I would take Gladewater to win the entire region. But I mean, there's probably, just looking at it, 3 or 4 teams that if they ended up winning the region, I'd be like, yeah, that makes sense.
They're going to be battle tested getting through this for sure.
Oh yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
Jeremy, what do you think about this region?
Yeah, I mean, I think the thing that's interesting with the Gladewater Mount Vernon is, Palmer is the next opponent in the next round. I think that might be, and again, looking at, you never know, but it looks like maybe the toughest of that second round potential matchup. I guess Pottsboro, Mayor Pearl. But I mean, you look at that and you go, ugh. If I'm Gladewater, seeing Palmer would not be my ideal choice for the second round, potentially. But I think there's a good shot that 3 or 4 of these teams do make it 3 rounds deep. So, I think it's wide open and a lot of fun. And again, I see some NETSN coverage in the future and in a few rounds deep in this little spot right here.
Yeah. All right. So now I'm back where we're going to look at Westwood, where they are. They're down here at the bottom against East Chambers in round 1. It's hard to know about what we're going to see from a team from Westwood. Now you got Columbus here. I don't know why they always come up against each other. Last year they played as well. There's no Grayson Rigdon there, I don't believe. He's out of eligibility, right? Maybe.
I don't know. He might still have some eligibility in his back pocket somewhere.
He won like 4 state championships or something like that. Crazy. I mean, surely you can't play another year. I don't know.
COVID year, redshirt year, medical. Yeah, I don't know.
Needless to say that they're kind of matched up there. You got Fairfield, which is a team that's highly ranked and beat Westwood a few weeks ago, up in the top of the bracket. I don't know much about a lot of these teams. I do know that Franklin is a good team. They're sitting there as well in that same bracket. So, Westwood's got East Chambers. If they were to win, then they'd have Columbus. If they were to win again, they might have Franklin. So I'd say they've got their hands full there in that bracket if they're able to keep winning. What do you guys think about this? Kyle, I'll start with you.
Yeah, there's a couple other Deep East Texas teams in this region too. Diboll sitting there at the 3 seed out of that district with Westwood. I think I like their first round matchup. I know Orangefield beat Woodville earlier this year, and they're a good football team. But Diboll played Westwood really, really close and needed a win over Teague in that final week to get into the playoffs, and they picked it up. So I think that I like what this Diboll team's doing right now. So I think I'm going to pick them for an upset in the first round. But this is Franklin's region. I think Franklin is they run that slot T to perfection, and I think they're going to be the team to beat. Another team to watch though in the top half of that is Hardin. They're going up against Crockett, another Deep East Texas team. Hardin though I think is undefeated or has just 1 loss on the year. Just quietly kind of winning down there in deep East Texas. So I think that Hardin's going to be a tough out. I could see a Hardin and Franklin regional final maybe. But I do think Franklin wins this region pretty handily.
Jeremy?
Yeah, I mean, I think Fairfield's the most intriguing, right? They're not really I don't know that I'd consider them an East Texas team, but they're in that district with these teams
they're
from
not.
East Texas. They're not, right? I mean, they're not. I was going to say I was just trying to be like open. No, they're not. They're not. But I think they've got a good shot. I think they're in the spot we thought Westwood would be in, right? And they're in the spot there. And so I think again, they're potentially in that third round going to match up with Hardin, right? And so I think that's going to be a fun one. And then you got the potential of Franklin Westwood or Franklin and Columbus. I mean, I think it's going to be tough for more than I don't know that more than 2 teams get 3 rounds in, but you never know. Things can happen, but I don't see more than 2 teams advancing into the 3rd round.
All right, let's go look at Division 2, 3A here. All right, this one is going to be I think they're in Region 3 down here. So we'll go look. We'll start. We got New Boston, Edgewood. There's a lot of East Texas in this region, so there's a really good chance that we've got four teams left here in that regional semifinal there. You start at the top, New Boston, Edgewood. We got West Rusk, Woodville. Man, that's a tough little pod between West Rusk and Woodville and Edgewood. Whoever wins that West Rusk Woodville game is going to get a nice test from a really good Edgewood team. You've got Harmony, Dangerfield, and Kuntz and Arps. Man, you could have a Dangerfield ARP game round 2. Whew, that's pretty juicy. You got Troop. I think Troop got a nice draw. I don't see them having trouble with their first 2 opponents. I think they'll take care of Anderson Shiro, the winner of Lono Hooks, which I think should be Hooks. I think they'll take care of that one. So I think Troop's got a nice path to the 3rd round. You look down at the bottom, you've got DeKalb, Grand Saline, and Newton, Diana. So I think Newton. So I'm seeing Troop's going to be coasting in, and then they're going to hit Newton in round 3, and that will be a clash of state powers there. Man, it's interesting because I think you've got a chance probably to get 2 East Texas teams. I don't know about more now that I'm looking at the bracket. You might get a 3rd one depending on how it falls in round 1, but Troop got a great draw until they get to round 3. Jeremy, what do you think there? What are you thinking about that particular bracket?
Yeah, I think I think because there's so many East Texas teams, I think it makes it fun, right? Edgewood should win, but New Boston's no slouch, right? They've had some good wins. The West Rusk, Woodville, I think we all talked about obviously before. Dangerfield, I think, beats Harmony. I think that's probably a fairly easy one. I'm excited for the Kuntz ARP. I think that's going to be a good 1st round matchup. I think Troop roll is pretty easy. I think Hooks gives them a little bit of a test, but I don't think they're going to be able to slow down.
Jeremy, you're picking Lone Oak to win this region, right?
I am not. I made that choice once and it bit me, and I'm not going to do that again.
Okay,
I think Lone Oak is they've got some stuff, but they're not going to beat Hooks. And New Diana just got a tough run, right? Like to that. Thank you. The reward for the playoffs is Newton. It's like somebody tells you that you won a prize and you go up and all that's left are sticky notes and you're like, oh, cool, I got sticky notes. Like that's just a tough run. And again, you got Grand Saline against Newton potentially in round 2. That's a fun look. I mean, there's just a lot of potential fun matchups here, and this thing could go a lot of different ways. So I think this one's going to be one of my favorite ones to watch moving forward. This little group right in here.
Yeah, I think so. Kyle, what do you think?
It's one of my favorite regions. Maybe the 2AD1 Region 3 and the 2AD2 Region 3 are similar, but this one's fun, man. I could see this going many, many different ways, but I think what's going to happen is I think we're going to get that Art Dangerfield matchup in round 2 is freaking phenomenal. Like that is a regional final type matchup that you're getting in the 2nd round of the playoffs. And then even in the top part of that, Edgewood and what I think West Rusk, like I think those are 2 good teams too. And then a Troop Hooks matchup in the 2nd round, a Newton Grand Saline, like brother, these are some games. But I think what we're gonna get going into the regional round, the 3rd round, I think you're gonna get, man. I don't even know who I would pick in Art Dangerfield. I want to say Art because of their defense, but the way Dangerfield's playing right now, I think you're looking at a Dangerfield Edgewood 3rd round matchup and then a Troop Newton 3rd round matchup and then a potential Troop Dangerfield regional 5. I mean, Yeah, this one's awesome, man. This is going to be an extremely fun region to keep up with. I don't know who the favorite is. I think there's legit 4 or 5 teams that could win this region and then not only win this region, make a run to the state game. So I'm excited for this region.
All right. I think we all agree on that this is going to be a fun one to do. All right, let's go to 2A Division 1. Not to say that 2A Division or 3A Division 2 is not great, but 2A Division 1 also has some firepower. We'll start with Region 2 as we have part of our district coverage there. You've got Carlisle going to go up against Valley Mills. Mildred we've covered a little this year. They're in that top matchup against Dawson. And then you've got Frankston here against is it Bosqueville? Is that how you say that? I'm gonna have to learn how to say that.
Bosqueville.
Okay. That's the game we'll be doing. I've seen Wolf City this year. They lost to a Timpson team, which it was an absolute slugfest back and forth. Wolf City they've got a tailback. I can't remember his name.
HD Davis.
HD Davis, yes, and he is
going to Kansas State.
He is outstanding too. So you could see a Wolf City Frankston matchup round 2. That could be interesting. Then you've got Union Grove, the Battle of the Groves here. Union versus Honey.
Hold on. That's Region 3.
Oh yeah, you are. I'm getting ahead of myself. Thanks, Kyle. Thanks for catching me. I was getting excited. All right, so that I think Frankston. I've seen Frankston this year, and they are just so impressive at that level, at the 2A Division 1 level. I think that their district is pretty tough. I feel like that those 4 teams have chances to make a little noise there. I'd love to see Carlisle make a little run. I know Coach Baker has got them rolling with Ibarra back there at quarterback and Elvis Hernandez in the backfield. They've got a dynamic duo. The question is, if they come up against a team that stops the run, can they throw it? They've had some issues with that, so we'll see if they're able to do that. But you've got I could see Frankston, and there's an Axtell there. I think they're a solid team, so you could see maybe a Frankston Axtell. I know Cayuga's there. I don't know if they can beat Axtell or not, but I'd love to see it happen. Carlisle, man, I could definitely see Carlisle and Mildred round 3 again. I'd love to see that game. That was a pretty good game a few weeks ago in Carlisle that Mildred kind of pulled away at the end. But I could easily see that District 8 get 3 teams into that Final 4 of the region. KO, what do you think about this particular region?
I'm going to be honest with you. It's Frankston. It's Frankston and everybody else. I don't know. There's not a reason that Frankston, in my opinion, if they play the type of football that they can play, there's not a reason they shouldn't win this region going away. Like, I think they're head and shoulders above everybody else. I know Hamilton has a really good football team, so maybe a Hamilton-Frankston regional final. But yeah, I think if Coach Gould and the Indians play the type of ball that they've been playing all season long, I see no reason why Frankston shouldn't roll through this region.
Okay. Jeremy?
Yeah, I mean, I think the same thing. I'm excited that we get to do the Frankston game. I'm excited for that, and I think they've got unless something crazy happens, right? If they do what they're supposed to do and what they're capable of, I don't see this being even anything where they're going to have to worry until that end of that region there, right? When they get to the regional final, I think that's going to be the test for them. But I think Mildred's got a good shot of getting a little run potentially. They could knock off you just never know, right? Like, I think these teams have proven that they can hang with each other, and so it's going to be a fun one. Again, Carlisle, they could win a couple games in here, and I think Cayuga could do the same thing. So I think you've got some chance for several East Texas teams to go a couple rounds in, but I think Frankston's the class of this region.
All right, let's move down to Region 3. I was about to go down to them a while ago because I got excited, but let's officially go down there. This one, I think we can attest, is probably just as intriguing as the 3A. Division II one. It's loaded with East Texas talent here. I'm just going to go down through here. You've got Union Grove versus Honey Grove. You've got Joaquin Centerville, Como Picton versus Legion Fields. You got Corrigan Camden Garrison. You've got Groveton St. Augustine, Cooper Wascom, Shelbyville Leon, and Beckville Paul Pewitt. Now, I think the district with Shelbyville, St. Augustine, Garrison, Joaquin, I think they sweep. I think that district is just, they've proven that they are a stout district. So I see them taking all 3 games, or all 4 games, excuse me. You got Honey Grove and Union Grove. I think the Beckville, Wascom, Elysian Fields trio, I think they get the win as well. I think that district is strong up top, but I think Honey Grove probably takes that game with Union Grove because there's a separation in that district, I think. So you could see a Honey Grove Joaquin matchup. You saw that way later last year. That was the
state semis.
Yeah. So you see that regional final. The semis
was it regional final?
Yeah, because I did the semis was Ganado.
Yeah.
So you could see that matchup in round 2 this year, which would be interesting. I know that was the Matt Diggs debut on NETSN. He joined us in the booth for that one. But then you've got a potential of Garrison Elysian Fields round 2. Wow. I mean, come on, give me that one. You got Wascom, St. Augustine, Shelbyville versus Beckville, the Battle of the Villes. I mean, I don't know where this goes. I don't know that there's a favorite. I mean, you maybe Elysian Fields was, and then they lost. So then you've got St. Augustine was doing well. They lost. I think this is absolute up in the air. I think I could see ways that maybe 6 or 7 different teams win this region. I really do think it's that wide open. KO, are you with me? What do you think?
This is, like I mentioned earlier, the 3A D2 Region 3, and then this Region 3 is just, it's phenomenal. It's so extremely wide open. But yeah, you're talking about those second round matchups, like a Wascom St. Augustine matchup in the second round. The amount of speed on that field in the second round, if that matchup happens, is going to be ridiculous. And then, you got Nunu Kennedy over there at Elysian Fields going up against the tough Garrison defense. Like, please this is an awesome region, man. But yeah, I think I have no earthly idea. I think you have 2 East Texas teams. I think Honey Grove is probably going to make it to that third round. I think they get past Union Grove, and I think they beat probably Joaquin. I like what the Rylan Morris, the quarterback, does up there at Honey Grove. So I think they probably make it to the third round. But then your guess is as good as mine on who they're playing, like Elysian Fields or Garrison. And don't sleep on Como Picton. I'm not saying they're going to upset Elysian Fields, but Como Picton's had a really good year this year, making the playoffs for the first time in a long time. So I like that. St. Augustine and Wascom, I could see that going in either way. And then, the Shelbyville and Beckville. Also, don't sleep on Paul Pewitt. This Paul Pewitt team just played Honey Grove for a district championship Friday. They lost 28-8, but Paul Pewitt's had a good year this year, and they're not a slouch. So I don't even think – I think Beckville's got their hands full in the first round. I don't think Paul Pewitt's a pushover. I think Beckville wins, but I don't think it's a blowout. But yeah, I think you got probably 3 out of the 4 teams in that third round being East Texas teams. But I'm with you. You could pick from, if you want to break them down into 4 little pods, I think you could pick a team from each pod that could win the region. Like it's so wide open.
Yeah. Jeremy?
Yeah, I think the non-East Texas, I don't consider them, they're too far away, but Honey Grove, I think, is the non-East Texas team that's going to make the most noise here. I think they win over Union Grove. I think Union Grove probably makes it close, but kind of like the Elysian Field game, I think there's just too much on the Honey Grove side for Union Grove to contain for very long. I think they beat Joaquin. And I think if you're asking me, I think it's probably Honey Grove, and I would say Elysian Fields in that round 3. If I had to put some skin in the game, And then on that other end, good night. I don't know. I mean, I'd lean Beckville, and then give me a coin flip between San Augustine and Wascom. I don't know. You know, I mean, you could in that third round see Wascom and Beckville go head to head again, right? Like, this is just fun, right? Like the machinations here and the possibilities. But I think probably the game I would say would be the East Texas version. I think would be Honey Grove getting the win. I think the rest of the way, I think the other 7, probably go, the way of East Texas, if you're gonna look at it like that.
Okay. All right. Let's go to Division 2, and you want to talk about points being scored. Look no further than 2A Division 2, where points are, you got to score at least 60 to win some of these games. I mean, this is it's not the 6-man, but it's a close enough version here. Look at this region here. You start at the top. You've got Mart and Cumbie. We talked about this. Mart is like they're the 4 seed, KO, I believe, in this. I mean, that's crazy. You could have a Mart.
Cumbie's your district champs. Shout out to Cumbie and Coach Ronnie Green, who used to be at Como-Picton and went through a couple of really bad years at Como-Picton. He's now over and moved in Hopkins County over to Cumbie and brought him a district title this year. So shout out to Coach Green and the Cumbie Trojans. But yeah, Mart is a 4 seed.
You could have a potential Mart Lovelady round 2 matchup. I mean, not looking past Cumbie, but just name value. You got Bremond, obviously. You could have a Bremond Grapeland rematch in round 2, where Grapeland gave Bremond a game earlier in the season. We talked about that. I think it was a 12-point win for Bremond.
Yeah, and then Grapeland and Bremond played in the playoffs last year, and Grapeland beat them in the playoffs. So Bremond beat them in the regular season. Grapeland beat them in the postseason. Same thing could happen again this year. Yeah,
and just seeing Grapeland, they've got some dudes on the field. Then you got Mount Enterprise. I think they've got a nice favorable draw. I don't think that they're gonna be able to get to round 3. I think they see Overton again, possibly. I think we see an Overton Mount Enterprise matchup again in round 3. Maud, Maud, I think some of these teams have already played Maud. They're a team that kind of cross over and they play some. I can't remember exactly who. I believe Overton played Maud already.
Maud's had kind of a down year for Maud standards, I think. Right? So, I mean, they've not been as good this year.
I think Overton's in a great draw for a 4 seed.
That whole district, that whole 9-2A is not the strongest of district. Again, nothing to not taking anything away from Cumbie that won that district, but it's just compared to the other districts in this region, it's probably the weakest of the 4.
Yeah, I mean, what do y'all think? I think Overton's got a path where they see Mount Enterprise in round 3. As long as they take care of business, I mean, they get by West Sabine as the district champion. I think they get to round 3.
I don't see why they shouldn't. I don't see why we shouldn't see that. Now, and let me correct something. I was wrong. Grapeland beat Bremond in the regular season last year. Bremond knocked them out of the playoffs. This year, Bremond won in the regular season. So Grapeland could knock Bremond out of the playoffs. But yeah, I think obviously just looking at it on paper, I think Mount Enterprise is your favorite just because of Kagan Nash. Like, I think Mount Enterprise goes as far as Kagan Nash can go until he breaks down. I think he is there going as far as he can take them. Bremond and Grapeland is an interesting second round matchup because I think, you could be staring down a Lovelady Grapeland rematch in the third round. It's highly possible. All 4 teams from District 11 are in the third round. And I don't think any of us would be surprised by that either. I think that District 11 is the strongest district in this region, where we're talking about District 9 is the weakest. I think this is the strongest. And there's a high possibility that we get. I think the regional champ comes from District 11. I don't think anybody else is. You can look at Mart as a sleeper, if you will, as a 4 seed. Obviously, Bremond. I don't want to sleep necessarily on West Sabine either. They've had a really good year, but they have a tough draw with Overton. But should they get past Overton, I think West Sabine makes it to the third round and faces Mount Enterprise. So there's just a lot of things that could happen here. But I think District 11 sweeps all the way up until the third round.
I like that. Jeremy?
Yeah. Yep. Period. Put on that. Yeah, I agree.
What Kyle said.
Yes.
Oh, man.
Just repeat in a different voice tone, and it's it.
Oh man, but I think the consensus is we've got a lot of teams that got chances to make really good runs, and I'm just excited that we're here. I mean, the regular season went by so fast, but playoffs are a great time of year, and we're just blessed to be able to cover a lot of those games. And I did want to go through those games just to reiterate which ones we would be at here, just in case we missed any. I don't think we did, but I just want to be verified. So Thursday night, the NETSN crew will be on NFHS. The subscription's like $13. Sometimes you can get a code for a month, but you got a ton of games. All the NETSN games will be there. There'll be some other coverage on there as well. So it's a great deal. So go ahead and sign up and get that taken care of. And that way, even if you're at a game, you can check in on some other games on your phone. You also have the app here as well. That's free, you can use. So Thursday night in Nacogdoches, we will be covering the game between West Rusk and Woodville. Coach Hubbard will be on the call for that game in Nacogdoches. Let's see, also Thursday, Overton West Rusk. That game will be in Joaquin. Shires and Watlington and those guys will be on the call for that one. And then you've got, let's see, Carlisle and Valley Mills will be in Kaufman on Thursday. Keith will be there on the call for that one. Jeremy and I will be in Ennis for Frankston and Boscoville on Thursday night. And then Larry will be in Palestine for the Groveton St. Augustine game. Those are the Thursday night games that we will have for the NFHS network. Then on Friday, you got Mount Enterprise and West Hardin in Lufkin. Josh Jarrett and those guys will be on the call there in Lufkin. Union Grove versus Honey Grove in Rains. Coach Hubbard will be there for that game in Rains. Gladewater versus Mount Vernon. Keith will be on the call there in Mount Vernon for that one. Shelbyville versus Leon in Nacogdoches. Larry Pierce will be on the call there for that one. Van versus Center at the Tomato Bowl in Jacksonville. Shires and Wallington and those guys will be on the call there in Jacksonville. And then Jeremy and I will be in Henderson for an Athens Gilmer opening round game there. And KO will be there also, not with us, but he'll be there. We'll get to see him there.
I'll come say hello.
Yeah, I'll have a roster for you probably too.
And I may need to use your Wi-Fi.
Okay. Yeah, I got you internet wise. I got you.
I think I already connect when we're within range anyway.
Yeah, probably do. You probably do.
Thursday, I think I'll be in Lindale, I think, for the Carthage-Pittsburgh matchup to watch my upset pick happen. I'm just kidding.
Flash the headlines now.
Yeah.
No.
You heard it here first.
And then
I think Carthage wins by a lot.
Yeah, and we got basketball all over the network too, so make sure you check that out. We've got games going on. Had a really good game this past weekend, Saturday night, and Brook Hill and Martins Mill. Of course, Martins Mill played like they were in midseason form and got the win, but a big battle between two NETSN schools that we'll be covering this season. So, any final thoughts from you guys? Jeremy, we'll start with you. What are you thinking about this week?
Man, it's playoffs, right? It's time to win and move on. And unfortunately, for half the teams in all these brackets, the season ends, right? And so, but again, I think it's just the important thing to remember, like these teams, these coaches, these band directors, right? The bands, the cheerleaders, I mean, all these people have put in 11 weeks of work. And the hope is that we can continue on, right? Like you want to win and keep going. And again, it's a huge thing, right? And it's one of my favorite things about the schools that we get to cover is we were there for the Grapeland game and at Grapeland Lovelady, and it was like both towns showed up completely, right? Like that's the awesome part of this time of the year is that people come and then there's people that just want to watch playoff games. And so they jump in and do that as well. But it's a great time of the year. And again, eventually somebody's going to be holding up that trophy at the end. And this week's step one.
KO?
Playoffs, man. It's the best. Texas high school football playoffs are the best thing ever. I mean, it's awesome. So I I was watching the bracket reveal show like it was a March Madness bracket reveal last night. Like I was, so how you basketball people feel about March Madness, which I love, but how y'all feel about March Madness, how I feel about the Texas high school football playoffs. I think it's the best thing ever, and you're going to get to see the best that Texas has to offer. You're going to see the best. The bands are going to put on their best performance because it could be their last. The players are going to put on their best performance because it could be their last. So I'm just excited for that. Excited to see kind of what transpires here and who goes where. I love the first round, but once we get to the second, third, fourth round, those are when the games really start becoming big. There's going to be some blowouts this week that we're not going to love.
It's that all saying, KO, if you're playing after Thanksgiving, you've had a good season. So,
and the teams to remember play in December.
Right. That's right. Just a reminder, again, make sure you go download our NETSN app and share it with all your friends. Make sure you have it. We gave you a nice preview of it tonight on the show. It's free. There's also some things on there we didn't show you. There's forums. That's where you can do your pick'em contest. Just tons of things on there. So make sure you go. We're always adding stuff. And yes, KO.
I have a question. Will the playoff bracket format that's on the app be available on the website?
It will. We have not turned that on yet, but it will once we've and it may be up now. I don't know. I'm not the developer, so it probably is up now. But yes, it will be there and available for a computer format, so you see it on your computer as well. But nice thing is the mobile, and that's what I really wanted when we were building this. I really want it to be something you could see, because sometimes on your phone, it's really hard on some apps to see the bracket and how the games are formed. So we didn't want too much information there on the bracket. So like we don't have like where the game is and all that kind of stuff there. It's really just the score and be able to see the pathway, right? But if you click on it, then you can go in and you can see the stadium directions and still do the other things in there. But we want it to be a clean formatting where you can see it there, because sometimes too much on the mobile device being able to see is it just kind of clutters the screen. You got to scroll down, 18. So you got like maybe 2 games on this page, and it's hard to really see your path. Excuse me. And I think on this app, we've done a really good job of being able to see the path that your team can go on just from that page. And so I'm really proud of the app, and thanks to my assist, Jeremy, there is my app helper assist over the weekend.
If it's screwed up, it was probably me. But if it was done well, it might have been me.
But I think that's the main thing, is making sure people know about the app, because it's a great tool to have, and we're always trying to add and innovate it a little bit more every year, and this is our big thing for this year. And so I really hope that people are able to use it and enjoy it, and make sure you update it, because that helps us out. If you're out of the game, just go ahead and update it. Even if you just take some time, update it. You can use it to share the score. That's what I like that people don't really realize. If you're sharing the score with a friend, like, you can actually update the score, hit the share button, and you can share it to a text, to Twitter, to Facebook, without having to punch in all that information. It's there for you. So I think that's some of the things that people forget about, that instead of having to top out, Chapel Hill 21, whoever 7 time, like, it does all that for you if you fill it out one time, and then you can just send it to as many people as you want, or just to your Facebook page. It'll also show where you got the score, and then they can go to the app, and then you don't have to send them the score. That you just update it and tell them to follow us on the app, and then you don't have to do that. So I think there's a lot of good features in there that people forget about. I'm just excited for getting to call these games. Again, we're blessed as a network to be able to get selected for so many games and have so many teams to cover. And I'm just excited to get this rolling. And I'm this time of year is great, because you got basketball going, started, football playoffs are here. We've got everything going here on NETSN. I'm super pumped. But that's going to do it for tonight's episode of bEast from the East. The playoffs are here. Good luck to all your teams that made the playoffs. Get your pick'ems in. Make sure you get them in before Thursday, because we do have a lot of Thursday games on the slate. For Jeremy Diamond, Mr. Ed Zeno, TKO Owens, I'm Mr. NETSN, Brett Sweeney, signing off. Until next time, we'll see you right here on bEast from the East. Good night, everybody.
The Northeast Texas Sports Network is dedicated on delivering the most entertaining sports broadcasts in East Texas. And if you're interested in having your next sporting event streamed live, visit us online at netsn.live.